Continuing the battle here in week number 6, day number 2 for Street Fighter League Japan, we have ourselves a battle of the leaderboards. Really, we have 4 teams duking it out this week, all spread out from the first half to the second half as well. We have Gyogun versus Good 8 Squad, Team Ikaza going up against Nagoya Oja Body Star. It's going to be pretty exciting to see who will take it, at least get themselves within that top 6 position from some of the other sides of the team. More importantly, the home teams going on for today's battles. My name is Vicious here with St. Cola. I got to ask you right now, real quick, St. Cola, first and foremost, what's going on, man? How you doing? It's been a while. It's been a long while, I feel like. It's been like a full weekend, a weekend and a half, I should say.
Yeah, a little break with it, but you know, I'm back with the Street Fighter 5 kind of stuff. I'm super excited to see these teams work it out because we're in the halfway position, I feel like, and we're gonna get to that point where these points differentials are gonna get more distance. We're not quite there yet, my bad, but we're getting there. We're almost to that point where it's that halfway mark on the dot, and you have as many points as they find to stay above that line to be in that qualifying position, because you want to be able to qualify for the finale, to be the best team in Japan. And not only that, but all of the land to fight the US and the EU in the World Championships later on in the finality of the season. We're going to see possibly, I think, at Capcom Cup. But of course, I'm getting ahead of myself. We still have a lot of teams to go through with the home and away side, as you said before. We have Gyogun going up against Good 8 Squad. Good 8 Squad at the top spot once again, but I feel like they're not too far off the mark from other players. I mean, the other teams are not that far away from their points, just in general.
Yeah, they're within the distance of at least Shinobiism Gaming, who scored themselves 80 points. And speaking of the big 80, hey, we have 8 million yen, right? You see how I try to tie that together? There was a big 8-0. Still a significant amount of money, right? 8 million yen on the board, on the line, really, for some of these teams here in Street Fighter League. First place getting 5 million, second place with 2 million, third place with 1 million. But their eye on the prize is actually being able to compete against the other champions in Street Fighter League for EU as well as US. And as we talked about, you know, we have the home and away team pretty much established. For the battles themselves, the first 2 battles are going to be pretty much 2 out of 3 worth 10 points apiece. The third battle itself is going to be 3 out of 5, kind of throwing things in there, making it a little bit spicy. That's going to be worth 20 points, right? If there's ever a moment where we have a sudden death battle that needs to happen because points can be tied up 20 apiece, that battle will be a first to 1 worth 5 points, and anybody from those teams, anybody, any member, even if you were benched, can be put up to bat.
That's correct. We've seen that happen not only in the Japan sort of league, we've also seen that in the EU recently. If y'all haven't watched it, definitely watch out for the other leagues going on as well. But I love seeing that new rule. It puts a little bit of spice on there. You can set up that last player that's sitting on that 4th place spot to kind of be like that ace. But we'll see what happens today if we're going to even get that sort of play, because again, we have Good 8 Squad going up against Gyogun, 2 ridiculous teams, 2 very stacked teams. I can't believe I'm saying stacked, because every team is stacked out here at Street Fighter League Japan. I feel like you're getting the best out here in the crop, at the top spot. But when we talk about Good 8 Squad, because they're going to be on the away side of things, they are just filled with so much talent. You have a Capcom Cup champion, you have an EVO online and offline champion, you have top 8 placers out here, Intel World Qualifier in Pugera, and then you also have Dogura, who has been in so many top 8s, been just piecing up so many top level players. Obviously, I'm going through these players a little bit too ahead of my time right here, but just talking about the pedigree of these players out here means that we're going to get a lot of great action. And speaking of these players, let's get the official introductions for the goodest of 8 Squad. Hiroshima Predator himself, Gotcha-kun, as I said before, Capcom Cup champion with that Rashid play. Then we have the Cosmic Boxer himself, Big Pugera, running that Boxer and Poison and other characters if need be. Then after that, it's the next gen himself, Kawano, with the Colleen, with that secret Lucia that we saw take down Fudo. And after that, it's going to be the Wind Devil himself, Big Dongura, coming through with that Bison, having a fantastic run throughout this league. This is a very stacked team, and this is the team that is in a top spot once again.
That is correct. 190 points at the top of the leaderboard. Again, it's a battle all across the rankings. We're going to see if Gyogun has something to say about their contenders. Mago leading the pack. It is indeed the 2D God coming into play, with possibly Karen, most likely Luke. That's what we've seen time and time again. Also with Mr. Optimal, that is Machibo. We've seen this Nikali play coming out, a lot more confidence as well. Mizuha, who's been streaming a ton of Luke, also a ton of Cody. The Moonlight Suzaku going in as the hero of justice. It is Moke, who's been dabbling with a good amount of characters as well. We have little glimpses of that Falc, but we've also seen the Rashid come in, just in case, you know, as a safety net, in case the Falk doesn't happen to go through in his favor. And we can already see the characters coming out, not even just from the character selection screen, but rather on the webcams of the players. You see Moke kind of bouncing around. But let's take a look at who we have established for week number 6, day 2. Again, this is the good 8 squad. Oh, I like it. Kawano, Gachikun, and Pugera. No matter which way you spin it, Senkola, it's going to be a stacked roster. Like, that's going to be so difficult to even choose. I don't know if you saw like the warm-up show with Hameko's choice, but Yamato had asked him, how do you even approach the counter for this, right? Right off the bat, they were thinking, okay, Gachikun, you have 2 options here. Either Mago's Luke or Moke's Falk to throw him off. In regards to this matchup specifically, you want to stop Rashid's momentum, right? We talked about what kind of normals that he has, what kind of gameplay Gachikun wants to play. I think the Fireball game is going to really hinder Gachikun's momentum, or at least his play. So we see the Luke. I think it might just be Mago, right?
Ooh, Mago go up on the deck immediately. And I think that's an okay pick. You know, let the captain go up against Kawano, who's been on the bench for a bit. But you know, going back to Kawano, he being an Evo champion, showing us Lucia, showing us that he has a repertoire of characters. I'm curious of what he's going to have for his toolkit. You know, if you look at Fugu Taiga's blog, he mentions that Kawano, like that was kind of the theme that Kawano had when he pulled out that Lucia. Yeah, Fugu Tabate, my bad. The fact that, you know, he has these other characters in his back pocket. Like, what are the links you would go to defeat these other players out here in Street Fighter League Japan? What links would you pick up another character, new playstyle, and things like that? We see that from Kawano. So I'm curious to see if he has another character besides the Colleen. Although I do think that Colleen doesn't do super bad against Luke. Obviously, Fireball is going to be a lot harder to deal with because her anti-projectile stuff a little bit harder to deal with this season. But I still think that she is still a threat. She puts you in the corner with V-trigger, still rocks you with those fantastic normals, back heavy kick, medium punch, and harassing over and over again at a distance that not always can be challenged by Luke.
Yeah. So I did get ahead of myself, right? I was thinking about who was going to stop Gachikun. I erroneously thought he was going up first, but it is indeed going to be Colleen with Kawano. And actually, Hamiko didn't even have anybody to counter up against Kawano. He's that good where he's just kind of stumped Hamiko. He's like, I don't know who to even throw up as a counter, but it seems there's a lot of confidence with Mago. You talked about this earlier too. Bringing in the Luke to stop something like Colleen should be a fine choice. I think that's going to be going an excellent choice no matter how you spin it. So very excited to see it. Personally, I want to know what it is about Kawano that forces this kind of decision from Team Gilgun. And if we're going to see maybe Lucia, if need be, like I think with Kawano's Colleen, it's more than effective to take on a good majority of the players here. Not to take away from the current roster, it's just he's that good, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if we happen to see the Lucia pick. I just don't think it's solicited specifically for this matchup.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. We saw him take the Evo run pretty dominantly, you know, with Winterside. Only obviously having to fight someone like Idom, they really showed him like that took him down to the loser side of things at the finale. However, Kawano says I may lack the facial expressions compared to Mago, but I'd like to beat him game-wise. And Mago says I have to win this thing. He says I'll show you in the game how it goes down. And I'm definitely curious to see what he's going to do. I think the Colleen is the perfect pick. I think Lucia was like a shock factor. Obviously, the Lucia definitely had a lot of strength to it. We saw a lot of like, you know, a lot of what you would typically see from like a Lucia main. Maybe not like 100% like Igo, like other Lucia players that the few that do exist in Japan or in the world, I should say. However, it was like enough to see that he was solidified with that character. But I do think that Colleen is perfectly fine. However, on the other side of Mago, I mean, this is Luke. And if Mago's on game, it's not about September Mago. It's all day Mago every day. That's the Mago that we want to see. That's the Mago we saw recently in his last match. That's the Mago that is hit confirming everything, confidently walking down his oppression and his approach, utilizing those buttons perfectly spaced and things like that, and just making it very hard to stop his momentum because he's one of those cats that he rides on his own. I don't want to say ego, but his own momentum, his own personal momentum. If he's feeling himself, he's feeling good, it's hard to stop someone like the 2D god himself.
Yeah, I think it was one of those moments where he found a solid counter pick against somebody like Fudo, right? I think the Lucia pick wasn't necessarily going to be like a just like a random pick, right? It's not going to be something that he's going to be throwing out there just to throw out there because it's strong or it's going to take someone by surprise. No, there was a specific counter pick in regards to Kawano's decision making to go up against Fudo, and we saw it work out, right? 3-0 is pretty impressive against someone like Fudo, and more impressively important against a character like Poison. I haven't seen this character get dominated that easily in a very long time in this level of play. So I think, you know, Colleen is going to be just fine though, either way, because that's going to be the main character for Kawano. We'll see how it plays out. It's going to be Kawano and the tried and true Colleen going up against Mago and this Luke.
See what happens, Mago. With a 4-2 right now in terms of wins and losses, you look fantastic out in the league right now. With fantastic space. As soon as I say that, jumping into place, calls out to the fireball. A lot of recovery on that. Kawano reading the rhythm and putting him in the corner. Fantastic start. Not even have to use trigger to put him in the corner and harassing the crouch community kick, but slight whip punch there.
Oh,
never
boy.
mind. Right back at him with the ESRB belt.
A couple of tough decisions to make if you're Mago, but manages to get it from Kawano either way. A big opener off the low medium kick, and now all the momentum on the side. One activation into trigger could smell death. Not death, sorry. A big momentum change. The flash knuckle, and again, didn't have to use any of the trigger. Pretty optimal. One more stun for, actually, yeah, one more hit is going to be death for Kawano.
Oh, the V reversal. What a punish. What a challenge, Kawano. Back out of the corner, the parabellum back in the game. EXDP though from Mago wakes up, knocks the lights out of the city immediately. What a rebuttal from Mago, taking that momentum back.
We're starting to see the understanding from Kawano, right? Fully aware that, you know, that Mago cannot let that V trigger fly for free. We've seen the counterplay to it before, but we'll see if a mistake like that happens again. Mago already pressed to this corner, but we've seen him work from this position. We've seen Kawano already push Mago to the corner before, and we've seen him find success off of a low 4, but still Kawano now letting him go. Back throw, had to do it.
The corner, unfortunate. Kawano, he himself can work himself out of the corner. You know, one good EX, parabellum confirmed, could push himself back to the screen, buffering that light kick too as well. Back heavy kick to catch a crouch meaning kick, but here we go. Counter hit, target combo gets the Oki, back rise, looking for an activation. Oh, Mago, gonna get one off a medium kick. Off a medium punch, anything. Kawano strikes first with the fierce.
You get the activation off of the target combo, checking the movement yet again. Kawano is not going to actually pursue, right? He's just going to be chilling for a bit. The time one down. Yeah, and I like that. Finding the opening. Very, very slow to the approach. Not going to be overzealous about it, and I like this finisher from Kawano. A lot more sturdy, a lot more stable. Not overextending where he could get clipped with a low medium kick. Mago has to hold on to all this meter, and now he's playing aggressive. Kawano starting things off with a dash.
With a burst of oppression and the whip right there immediately. Kawano getting those negative frames and punishing those negative frames, I should say. Goes for the throw, strike throw, really hot and heavy with this kind of character. You're looking out for the fierce back heavy kick, crouch meter kick too as well for some plus frames every so often. Mago trying to find himself out of the corner and will find the buffer. Medium knuckle. And just challenging. I was gonna say good challenge for the light kick for the activation, but Kawano striking first in sequences before Mago get going. Understanding the rhythm of how he wants to play the fadeaway.
And stuck in this corner yet again. Kawano, we've talked about that oppression earlier. We've seen that aggression earlier as well. Standing light kick is going to be more than enough. Mago cannot run into this normal, nor any normal for that matter. Kawano, he might be in big trouble. I love that. Again, the big counterplay against the V-Trigger. Mago is not allowed to throw that out for free. He can't even throw out a fireball into and commit to V-Trigger, right? Because of that V-reversal. But that leads to something big. If Mago can bait this out correctly, he could do block string into Sandblaster and then just not do anything. Wait to see if Kawano's going to react to the V-Trigger. I think that's pretty important to see if he's willing to bite that.
See if that happens. But I like that Kawano's being able to use that V-bar to do something different with it. Instead of just using it for trigger, using it for these defensive and offensive situations that would lead to, losing so much health or a lot of chip just in general. But as you said, I like to see the counterplay. Medium in play right here, gets the whip punish. Fantastic button for Kawano striking back with the light. Parabellum, EX, medium knuckle to the corner carry, and the throw. MMA today.
And I love the V-shift. Yeah, get himself out of that mix-up. The trigger just about to be at the halfway point for Kawano, but still, I think he's like maybe like a target combo away from death. Maybe a low forward away from death into EX Flash Knuckle. Mago is still going to be playing a little bit defensively for that opening. The low forward comes out from Kawano, another one. But still, I think Kawano, if he lands a hit as well, if he goes into critical art, that could spell death for Mago. Either way, it's a one-touch situation. Oh, it's too far
for the medium. I can't believe that didn't reach. That could have been it. Mago, though, does have V-trigger. And the sweep caught him coming in, immediately goes for the confirm. And double down with the bar to go for Kawano. Ready with that sweep confirm. That caught him walking in, not even dashing, walking in to get the win. 1-on-1 set point.
Such a scary situation to be in as well. Mago locked in with critical art. I might have misspoken a little bit earlier too. Kawano, I thought he had the critical art on deck. It was actually Mago who's been sitting on this bar. And an important backdash, but still, no, I thought he was going to be able to get the target combo after those jabs.
We're starting to slow down quite a bit, and that's something that maybe you don't typically want to see from Mago. Like, you want to see a little bit more of that activity. Maybe not confident in those buttons as much as possible. Not swinging up the mediums as much. You've seen the whip punishes come from Kawano. The four Pierces have been whip punished too as well. The East Parabellum is super quick with it. Could find a whip punish just from having that on the deck. Fierce connects. And to the corner you go. Looking dire for Mago.
That's so scary still. One touch away again. Actually, more so now than ever, now that the V-trigger is locked and loaded for Kawano-chan. No, he's too far. That's more than enough damage. It's across the big crush counter into the trigger activation is going to spell death. Yeah, pick him back up. No, the ice skill, there was too much scaling because it was a V-trigger combo, but it doesn't matter. There was a crush counter. There was a V-trigger combo. It was enough to push Mago to the edge and the brink of defeat. So that's 2 straight for Kawano.
Real dominant play, once again from Kawano, Evo champion. It's always great to see these players figure out how to utilize the character after they've been nerfed or their tools have been altered. And it's wild because you see a lot of calling players kind of put this character to the side and say she's not strong enough, she can't do what she has to do. Her buttons are so fantastic. Her damage, maybe not as much as it used to be, still can come through. And you see that Kawano's so aggressive. He's always building up EX bar, always having the threat of EX Parabellum, able to get the win on someone like Mago to make Mago, someone like Mago, the 2D god himself, feel so uncomfortable that he is not pressured with the fantastic buttons of Luke. The whip punishes are on deck. The consistent interruptions, even caught him coming in with the sweep connect into an EX. That was fantastic play from Kawano, taking the first win for his team. Good 8 squad on the board as we start off the day.
It looks like Kawano is getting some of his sweep confirms in early. I was just thinking about the way he was playing Street Fighter 6, but don't mind me. Yeah, man, it's impressive. It's very impressive to see how Kawano can pretty much change into an offensive play style at just the flip of a switch. I think, looking at the first couple of rounds in game number 1, he played it pretty passively. All of a sudden kind of burst out there and started with pure aggression, and that was pretty impressive to see that even Mago, somebody who's a very aggressive kind of player, got shook, got placed into the corner pretty quickly. We can see the stats again. How it works out is anti-air, EXDPs, and the grab and throw succession rate. As it stands, right, Mago was the only one who actually had to put some numbers up on the board, but the anti-airs, in a bad way, by the way, in a bad way, because couldn't stop the anti-airs. He managed to get at least 1 EXDP, which I need to double check because I think there was one where he had done wake up EX DP and had lost for it. So we'll check that out. And then the grab throws, I feel like it's so difficult to tech that many throws against someone like Colleen because she can put you in a sort of loop. It's not like a true loop like it used to be, but it's still very difficult to contest, right? But Kawano, 2 games straight against the Luke. Now it's Gotcha-kun's time, coming in as the second member. Who are you throwing up there? Now that Mago is no longer on the board, who are you throwing up next?
I kind of like the idea to float the Falk, you know, see what it do. That's another matchup that you typically get to see, you know, Falk versus Rashid, and if you put out the fireballs, might put a character like Rashid off his game plan, and once he gets knocked down to the ground, you don't really have to worry about the HDP, so you can kind of go in for the damage and go for the pressure. She has the stomp for the plus frames and things like that, so I'd like to see Moke go up, because he also has the knowledge of how to fight Rashid, because he plays Rashid too. So I feel like that might be a good decision. You know, we said, Hamako was kind of talking about that before, and I feel like that would be a good choice. That's what I personally think. I think the Falk pick, just to see and dabble if Gotcha-kun's actually ready for that character. It looks like it's going to be instead Machibo Nakali. Very strange pick. I was not expecting Machibo to go up.
So, listening in, I think yeah, I think this is a specific strategy. I mean, like they've clearly put up Machibo for very specific reasons. Looking at the matchup on paper, Nakali versus Rashid. So Nakali doesn't have like the best normals in regards of range. I think there's a lot of activity in it. Like the active frames are pretty much there. They linger out for longer than you would think. They're great for counter poking. But I think one of the biggest tools that Machibo can present in this matchup specifically is that V-skill. I think V-skill 1 is going to be something to stop Gotcha-kun from whiffing out normals, but now it comes down to like whether or not Gotcha-kun picks that up quick enough. I think he's more than capable to. Despite his accolades, I think his adaptation skills are top notch. His observation to certain problems are top notch, and being able to change up the playstyle if need be. So we'll see. I think Gotcha-kun is going to be pushing Machibo a little bit in an aggressive manner, not throwing out as many buttons, right? I think he's going to occupy some of the ranges where Machibo is expecting him to throw out like heavy punches, but instead we're going to see a lot of walk up from Rashid. I think I'm just making this kind of like guess from how it's going to turn out at the start of the round.
Macho says that last year he had lost against Gotcha-kun when he was playing Cammy, so he'd like to win this. So he'd like to go back to his main pick today, and really kind of put on the pressure of someone like Gotcha-kun. I think I like to see like the aerial approach. You know, having multiple ways to jump in, like the dive kick, jump fierce, even jump medium kick at some ranges. It's kind of awkward for Rashid. He does have heavy mixer, but it is a little bit more predictive than you would expect. You have crouching medium punch, but that might get deleted and defeated by like jump fierce, like the dive kick and things like that. So if you're the Rashid player, you have to be using your walk speed, your dashes and things like that, the air-to-airs and stuff like that. It may not be so obvious to get these answers, so maybe that's also another route to victory that we see from Machibo. He's sitting at a 2-1 score right now. He won against Crusher's Birdie in the first of 2, but then lost a gunfight in the first of 1, but then had a fantastic match against Nauman's Luke, which also kind of showcased that even if the matchup isn't so good for Nakali on paper, just his playstyle, his aggression, when he puts in the corner, everybody gets blended.
Yeah, and we've seen that blender turn on for certain occasions, man, and that's quite the spectacle. I don't want to be in there, I don't want to be around there. I just want to hear it and be like, yep, he's working. But taking a look at the stats from Gotcha-kun, 75% win rate, 3 out of 4 matches that he's gone up with. Not bad at all, considering Grenade Squad. Again, they've been like as a team, right? I almost said as a squad. Yeah. But as a team, they've all been putting in the work. They all got themselves their W's where it counted the most. I think their win record obviously is near impeccable right now, because sitting at 190 points, like I can talk about each and every matchup from week in, week out, but all you need to know right now is they're at the top for a very good reason, right? 190 points, still within fighting distance of second place, where Shinobiism Gaming is at 160, right? They could potentially fall short, but this is where they get pretty much all those points back. I think you know, they're currently sitting at 200 now because of Kawano. So Gotcha-kun is pretty much just trying to widen the gap at this point. Specifically against Gyogun, who are at 105 points. At this stage of the game, as we get ourselves ready for week number 7, which is the halfway point, they're just trying to keep other teams from getting their points.
Just trying to be thieves of the night right now. But again, as you put it, They would not set up Macho without having a good reason. I think it's just beyond just him to when to get that revenge when he was playing Cammy. You know how you pick one character, it's like, all right, let me pick my main. Let me outside to pick my main. I think it's beyond that. I do think that there's a game plan that Macho does have. We're gonna see if it actually is able to be put into practice here against the Capcom Cup champion, that is Gachikun. And on the other side of things, Gachikun, very studious. He's gonna be ready for even the season 1 matchups, the characters that you don't typically see. We'll see what happens. First of 2.
Oh. See, I already called it, right? Gachikun actually started things off trying to walk within the ranges where Machibo was expected to maybe like walk back, right? Instead, Machibo stood his ground. Instead, he actually moved forward and caught Gachikun 2 times over as the big opener. So we already have these two making the big reads off of each other. A throw, doing a back throw specifically, and he knew it. Yeah, out of there. Does get the activation. No low forward
conversion. Yeah, I need to have that be reversal. I get some distance with it, but the block though from Gachikun keeps Machibo in the corner, and the crouch meter kick into the EX Stomp, reset the shoes, and the first one to Machibo. Real good preemptive buttons, and just being a wall, even though they're stubby, they still do damage.
Yeah, he had the right prediction against Gachikun. Now he's resorting to the V skill 1 play, and Gachikun was already way ahead of that. Now he's throwing out some of the sweeps. He's throwing out some of the crouching heavy punches a little bit more often. That was actually super clean from Machibo. He actually utilized that jab uppercut to get around the throw. He's making a lot more read-based decisions against Gachikun, but now here comes the twister, the hurricane. EX uppercut, I lied to you. Machibo busting out of the seams.
Activation on deck, Machibo with the better walk speed. Heavy kick, crush, corner carry. They get the V skill, but this is still scary. Has to find a way out. Yeah, no anti right there. Again, have to be predictive with it if you want that anti-air. Back throw, Machibo trying to work him in the corner. Another back throw. Oh, trying to wait and bait, but just woke up, delayed fears, got the crush. What a decision from Gachikun to call out the buttons, the Predator system taking the wheel, and take us to the final round between the two.
This is, man, it's actually quite the spectacle. Seeing these two trying to figure each other out is a work of art. Yes, we do get the big confirm now from Machibo. It's actually a punish, but now, again, one more for stun. Tries to back away, trying to bait something out against Gachikun. No, sir, the stun's not going to be a problem this time. The universal from the side of Machibo. You can see the desperation of trying to get out now. Gachikun smells it. Trigger is on deck as well. Get a spinning mixer, all tied up. Stun will actually do it. Oh my God, is he dead?
I'm gonna wait. Not yet. Not yet. One more decision. Build the bar. EXDP.
Activate.
Machibo looking for the activation. Yes, sir. Off the stomp. Oh. Wins the grip. Too far up for it. And Gachikun capitalizing. You see that slight walk back? Just like that. Gachikun.
Yeah, one of the best defenders in the game, right? I think Gachikun, his reads too, like his reads and reactions have been so on point. Like you have to know that the command grab is coming, but also you're hedging your bets either way by taking a micro walk back and blocking. That was just well timed, well placed from Gachikun, getting that walk back in place against Machibo's decision to use that command grab just slightly out. Now we get the big opener from Gachikun, and I say it's big because look at all that carry. He gets to put Nikali in the corner pretty much at round start.
That's where he's going to be accessing a lot of his damage just in general for Rashid. You want to put him in the corner, put him in the blender of your own. Oh, where are you going? The air right there, the dive kick. Doesn't get the fall, but still in that distance to enact that strike throw. Look at that crouch meter kick. Machibo has to find a way to come back. Where's the V trigger activation off the crouch meter kick? Hey, follow up. This guy is guiding this man to the corner.
We're waiting out a little bit. We're trying to find the opening down below. Machibo still no go. The low forward hasn't found the answer yet. He's knocking on the door 3 times over. It is a whip punish instead. Throw up on him a little bit. Get that baseball jersey dirty. But he's sliding home regardless. He doesn't care if you're throwing out the dirty stuff. Watch out for the throw. Okay, not even going to be close to it. Gachikun keeping Machibo contained. There it is. Yeah, eventually it was going to happen. When it comes to Rashid, it's all about the law of numbers, baby. No matter how you spin it, that throw will be coming out. Gachikun now on match point.
So dominant too. Again, the spacing that he plays at, so difficult for Machibo to really get anything going. We saw Machibo even try to bait out some anti-airs, not really working out. Heavy kick at that distance, not a crush, but the EX with that corner carry, even on block, you are pushed to the corner, back against the wall, you're about to fall. And Gachikun enacting that strike throw over and over again. EX using that bar, just a pressure. Machabo, he wakes up with a jab. His guidance. B-Shift doesn't get the crouch. We're gonna kick too far out for it. Gotta build that V-Bark with the quickness, but it's so hard because Gachikun's making it ambiguous where he stands at, that B-skill to land.
Oh, and he ran into the crush counter roundhouse. And again, we talked about that quarter carry. EX spinning mixer. What a time to utilize that. Gachikun actually could have died. It had been blocked. And he ran into the normal again. So much activity from the Fierce. Hold on a minute, though.
Stopper button.
Any bit confirmed could happen. Machabo does have critical art as well. Oh my god, he's playing with it.
Let's get the follow-up. At the bar for the V-trigger. Gachikun locking him down. Caught him flinching. And we'll get that last hit. You see Machabo saying, dang, I shouldn't have moved. Salted the bushes and took the shot. Gachikun with a clean sweep. Again, good aid squad. Janitorial duties done by them. Clean.
Yeah, another 2 games straight. It's looking nigh impossible to take this team down. Again, season after season, these guys are absolutely relentless. But it's not for nothing, though. I think Machabo did a fantastic job of still keeping Gachikun's wits about him for a certain amount of time. But I do want to further analyze that matchup eventually. Man, there was so much back and forth between the two. It was so smart and so well done. It's just that Gachikun happened to have the better half of it. I will say, super impressive to see the way Necalli was piloted in the hands of Machabo. If you guys are you guys are tuning into this specific matchup, this was like really well done in regards to how fast they adapted to each other. I was really impressed.
Really impressive how Gachikun, back to him, being able to land those EXTPs because they are so slow. Because we've seen it also delayed, he had to have the proper reads, and that was kind of the name of the game, the proper reads to stay away from the command grabs, the things that Machabo had put on previously on Nauman. We didn't really see that happen right here. A lot of bust outs on the side of both sides. Actually, they were perfect, when it comes for 3-3 for Machabo, and then for Gachikun 2-for-2 in terms of bust outs. But I really want to point out and highlight the fact that Gachikun being able to get those EXTPs when they are so slow, they are not immediate. Those are big call-outs, and at one point you call out could have got him got. Those reads are what led him to victory, alongside just being able to space himself out so properly to not get jumped in on. We also saw the air-to-airs right there. We saw him go jump meeting into the dive kick to avoid the jumping situation when those jump-ins started getting traded and things like that. So avoiding the big pain points of the character, avoiding what makes the Necalli so good, and just putting on his own pressure and put him in the corner quickly was how expeditiously he took down Machabo and now takes us to the anchor match. 20 points on the line. Gyoga gotta do something different. Who do you send up? Vicious, who do you send up?
I'm looking at the roster right now. I can't. I'm trying to figure it out, but I don't know, man. Like, this is. I was looking over at Hamiko's decision again. Looking at Pugera, I think he threw out Mizuha. He wanted to throw out Mizuha for the Cody, specifically for Balrog. And I think we've seen this matchup before, but I want to know what the captain has to say about it. So, personally, I would love to send, I think, Moke with Falk. But it's going to be Mizuha's Cody. Okay, cool. That's exactly what Hamiko had expected, or at least Hamiko had predicted. But this isn't the first time I feel like we've seen this matchup specifically with Pugera's Balrog and a particular Cody player. I'm going to look into it, but either way, Pugera, I'm sure he's feeling as confident as ever. We are going to get the words coming in the pregame sentiments beforehand, but looking into it, yeah, Pugera has been on a hot streak actually before week 5. I think the only one to stop him thus far was Daigo with Dial, so I think it's going to be pretty important for Pugera.
On the reverse, though, Mizuha has kind of been on a losing streak. He's lost to Tokido's Luke with Cody in the first of 2, lost the mirror match against Momochi in the anchor match, and then lost against Higuchi in another anchor match. So he hasn't really found his W, but maybe that, trying to find that W, trying to get that win, that one win on your belt, especially in the anchor match where your team is really riding for you to get as many points as possible, to stay in the game, may help him boost his confidence and really put that pressure on that he needs to kind of push himself to that victory. Pugera says, though, it's different than what he expected, but he will still work extra hard to win this. So he maybe expected Moke to come up, Maybe just like us, kind of expecting the Falk pick or even the Rashid pick to do it, but still, he's ready, prepared either way if the Cody comes to play. And as you said before, Pugera on a fantastic streak, still doing the 3-1. You know, only losing to Daigo's a pretty good loss. I think that's a pretty good thing to lose to, all things considered. And just, I think his style of play with Balrog, especially this season, where he's been adding a lot more defensive elements, a lot more movement with his character, and being able to operate V-Skill 2, not being such a plus frame situation, being able to operate around that, utilizing tap and things like that, and just acclimate to the new Balrog. I think it's like a brand new Pugera that's still just as strong. It shows you that Balrog can still get it done.
Yeah, you're going to be expecting that all across the board when it comes to the talent here at Street Fighter League, let alone the region of Japan. I feel like have been always, you know, one of the strongest regions in the world. But as it stands right now for Mizuha, not having the best record, you mentioned this earlier, 0-3 currently, still trying to find that W. I was looking at how he's been kind of streaming this character lately. I think there's a lot more confidence in his play in regards to specific matchups. He even says it himself, right? This week he's been working on the Bison, or sorry, he's been working on the Balrog matchup. So it's funny, he says, and I had some allergic reaction. I don't know if that's in regards to him him being allergic to dash punches, him being allergic to Pugera, or actually having an allergic reaction. I hope he's okay. All jokes aside, he's been working pretty hard, so maybe he has a chance to win this. So not feeling as confident as we would expect him to be, but confident enough to get himself into this matchup against Pugera. But I feel like this is a matchup we've seen from Pugera, but I might have been tripping. So I don't think he's actually played off against any Codys this season, but I think I've seen him kind of like I think it was I was wondering on like CFN and watching him kind of like practice against Cody, but it wasn't even for this week's battles, by the way. It was just him playing against a Cody. I don't know who it was exactly, but yeah, I kind of want to know how this matchup goes. Like, I could have sworn I've seen this matchup. Man, am I getting old? Is that what's happening?
No. You know what? You're actually right. Actually, like a couple of days ago, you're calling this right, because he was practicing in a lobby with a Cody player that's like an ultimate grandmaster that was super ridiculous. Like, maybe not one that we typically see in a lot of tournaments, but he was definitely getting ready, prepared for this matchup. And maybe this again was like something that he didn't expect fully, but he was getting prepared for not only for this Street Fighter League, but also the CPT that'll be this weekend. And it's a character that you have to be prepared for either way. He's like a top tier character, so you know you definitely going to see Pugera slug it out against this character continuously, try to figure out how to fight Cody. However, I am curious about this matchup too, because it's not one we get to typically see. Not many Balrog players left in the business besides Brian up from the trash can and a few others like Nasi Nas and stuff like that. But let's see what happens in this match. He's skill 2, V trigger 1 from the side of Mizuha.
Oh. Yeah, we're going to see that sway come into play. I feel like in certain situations where he could predict maybe a dash punch, it's going to keep Pugera second guessing, but it also opens you up. It also keeps you susceptible to it, because like if you decide to try to predict some of these dash punches, you might get punished for it instead. But I do love the big crush counter conversion. Mizuha now. Both players just swinging at each other. A couple of whiffs though. And Pugera not getting anything really consistent, right? It's just a couple of stray hits.
All it really needs, Balrog just be double out damage, catches the V-ship with the medium kick, didn't get the right knife throw. If it was just a lower one, he would have got it done. But still, has him in the corner with the knife, plus frames all dang day. But Pugera not afraid to jab against a knife. What's in those boxing gloves? Must be cement.
We gotta check. We gotta have somebody check the gloves after the match. I mean, oh boy. Oh, yo, duff him 2 times over just in case you tried to walk up. Not gonna be happening. Standing heavy punch 2 times over.
Really love that Pugera is playing this match where he's not really afraid of that V-trigger. I feel like there was definitely a sequence or a time where people were afraid of that V-trigger for good reason. Extended range, a lot of damage. Pugera able to fight his own way, not leaving his game plan off the table. And the bar at the bottom threatening an EX low or dash punch at any point. Uh-oh, EX on the side of Mizuha.
No tick throw. He actually just presented the idea, and he was waiting for something for Pugera. I wonder what I don't even know what he could possibly be letting Pugera get away with, like with a tick throw or a crouching jab at least. But now he might be paying for it. He could be sent to Big City instead of Metro.
Uh-oh, destination of damage, not where you want to be. Keep going. Dash punch max range. Spins the last that V trigger. Get the bar at the bottom for the super. One more sequence into the super should seal it. Oh, definitely will now.
Yeah, Pugera, he's kind of buffering away just in case. Oh, yeah! Standing medium kick as a whiff punish. Mizuha is going to have more than enough. Again, we talk about death by 1,000 cuts. No, you're actually getting cut by a knife. So, nice work from Mizuha getting the whiff punish against Pugera, getting a little bit antsy.
Oh, the crush, though. Round start looking real good for Pugera. That V-bar built up with that medium kick, presenting a big problem for Pugera in this match. I feel like that's going to have been like the setup for the shot. That medium kick to make him drop, and then just putting up other buttons on the deck, maybe interrupting the dash punch. Maybe that's his game plan. Off in the corner, EX gets him out there a little bit, but again, not putting a strike throw on him. That's your plus range. You gotta take those.
Dang, that hit mad far, and it actually caught a button. A big counter poke from Mizuha against Pugera with that forward roundhouse. And I love this. I love this kind of, I want to call this passive aggressiveness, right? As soon as you think he's gonna settle down, he comes in swinging. Every bit of movement. You talked about this earlier, and you were actually right on the money. We're seeing Pugera utilize movement as his choice for defense most of the time. Instead of trying to counter poke and swing, he's just giving the room or giving the space back. And one of the biggest tells too of when he's about to strike might just be when he utilizes that V shift. But other than that, Mizuha has so much to look forward to, or so much to watch, other than the V shifts, because he was at the deficit pretty early on, right?
Yeah, it's true. But like that V shift, that V bar being used for something different, just again shows you the diversity that he has in his toolkit. How he switch it up and use that defense for something different. Not all about that offense, and finding ways against that medium kick too as well. Not faltering, and building up enough bar to even threaten the idea. But there's the throw, medium kick. Nothing off of it though. Pugera with the defense. As soon as I say that, gets open up with the medium, but nothing after. Here we go, heavy Zog.
Oh, that was so smart too. That low medium kick was actually just enough to stop Pugera. Actually, no, he backdashed out of the way, but at the same time, Mizuha actually recovered just in case. Oh, that was so smart. The defensive jump back too in that moment, causing the juggle state to happen. Not juggle state, sorry. The air reset situation to happen was so smart from Mizuha.
You typically see that against like Bison, and now you're starting to see it from people dealing with ball wrong in some of these situations. Obviously a very hard call. You might get crush countered if it's time wrong, but here we go to the corner. Low ruffian for the Oki, and a lot more pressure from the side of Mizuha. I'd like him to capitalize on one of these plus situations because that's what Cody needs. There's the crush though, building up that bar at the bottom. Pugera good at getting that V-trigger situation with the quickness.
And we see the big counter poke there from Mizuha yet again. I'm loving that. Forward throw. Medium kick. Time Pugera double check whether or not he wants to advance. And there's the big crush counter. Pugera now on the run. He's going to be backing off.
For that activation, that crouching light kick. See that situation time and time again. Oh, there's the plus range. EX. Try to get him to open up. No go. The locked door. EX again. We're still knocking. Put the super in the gap just like that. Pugera.
Oh my God. That was so smart. What an expensive call out too. Of all things to whiff punish with? Come on, man. Was that necessary? That was relentless.
The statement.
You didn't need to do all that. Either way, that was brutal. And we do get the punish on the dash punch. Mizuha pretty much keeping himself within distance. Not going to be backing up too much, but it does leave him susceptible to a lot of the medium range pokes that Pugera can utilize. But now he's in fear of the knife.
Careful. The forbidden neutral right here. Cutting away, trying to find that jump in. Fadeaway situation. I love that shimmy. Gets a counter. It didn't find the follow-up. Didn't have a charge. Reversal. A lot of great life. One more EX should be able to do it. But that distance, you can't whiff. You're going to get hit the throw. That knife with extended range, being able to chase him down. Oh, the EX connects. One more touch. Knife on the table.
Oh, that's huge. Tick throw will do it. No, and instead he catches Pugera standing up. What are you standing up for? That's super important, right? Again, being able to check the movement. We talked about the defensive options that Pugera chooses is to walk back. But man, you can hear somebody popping off in somebody's microphone. Mizuha checking the movement. Super smart. It could have been a tick throw, right? It could have been a crouching light kick into a throw. But got to confirm crouching light kick into crouching jab on the board. Actually, this is our first W from Team Gilgun.
B leading to victory right here. Finally getting around. Finally getting a match, I should say. But we see a lot more of the plus frames being capitalized from Mizuha. Like, he's not just going for like shimmy situations. He's committing to these buttons. He's committing to make him hold these mediums or the strike throw a lot more instead of backing away. But there's the play off the mediums from Pugera, getting that dash punch to get some distance with it, and the crush, the fierce, the fist to face. Blame some of that V-bar too with that crush.
And I love that. Yeah, we still have the activity. We still have our eyes on the prize, airborne-wise. Again, being able to anti-air against such a grounded opponent is so important. But what happens when you get slugged in the face? What happens now? All right, I love it. It's going to be just fine. No big mix-ups yet.
No part to really worry about besides that V-trigger. No EX. Looking to enact a lot of the mix still. EX, yeah, he's looking for that EX. That's off the table. There's still one more bar. There it is to go far. The challenge on the plus frames, the Abare from Pugera. Knowing that Mizuha's not always taking started the EX, that was a jump scare. I know it's October, but that was definitely frightening.
Man, I feel like it's I still can't believe it's already October, man. You're definitely onto something when it comes to jump scares. That is for sure. The way that Pugera plays, anything could be popping up for damage. But speaking of popping up for damage, now it's Mizuha's turn. Forward throw. In pursuit of what afterwards? Crouching heavy punch to double check. Keep Pugera from moving forward.
Buffer again.
Huge.
Gets on the corner with that V-skill situation. Building up that bar too as well in terms of the stun. Mizuha trying to keep him up with that medium kick. See Pugera backing up just enough for that dash punch to get in that right range. And Mizuha acclimating to that by adjusting his spacing too as well, making sure it's minus and now find the activation. Ooh, that was a good bait. I like the idea. And now he gets to have the idea of the knife.
Yeah, enough thinking. A little bit more action. Mizuha, yeah, still manages to get the anti-air. Tick throw, no go. Mizuha wasn't able to get Pugera tripping on that on that throw tech. Oh, that's gonna be more than enough. He held that for a while. He did get off the backboard. I love that. The Zombie Knuckle again, skipping neutral. We talk about forbidden nooch. We talk about skipping the nooch. This guy has got it all.
Immediately the EX. Oh, didn't get the EX upper. That was such a bet right there for Pugera to use the armor to get through some of these normals, but right now you caught up in the corner. Not where you want to be against Cody. EX Fireball could come into play to lock him down too as well. Pugera immediately pressing, but press right back against the corner with the EX song. And there's the shimmy situation. Not enough to get it done. EX, V-reversal has to do it. Not a lot that Pugera can do to come back. It's a long hill to climb, and he's not finding a medium kick with punish. Mizuha.
This is very unorthodox from Pugera. We start to see a little bit more of this human side, right? We see a little bit of human error coming through from the supercomputer. I think there's a lot to be said in regards to the nerve factor. I think Pugera is playing in a place where he's not very comfortable. He's made some very critical errors. We talked about the EX screw upper being one of them. Then he went for the dash swing low as another option. Like he had thought he had gotten the confirm from crouching medium punch into the dash swing low, but yeah, we're starting to see some pretty crucial errors, and we see Mizuha try to make a big bet as well off of the ruffian starter, that opening gambit. Although he got punished for it, he's still swinging.
Ooh. Drops it down with the light, or medium ruffian, I should say. One more hit and play for the stun, gets it done. Mizuha ripping through Pugera's defense. And that gets enough hit. That's check the red. He was more than dead. Mizuha on set point. Now we have to look at the confidence from Mizuha. We saw previously walking up to deal with the dash punch, and now just swinging out here.
I think so. I can't tell who in the background. It's gotta be Mago, but somebody is like yelling in the background saying it hurts, like, or make it hurt. Like there's someone's going, I can hear it. I can definitely hear it. It's kind of funny. Who is that?
Oh, I want to know so bad. Oh, but it's definitely hurt right here from Bulgaria. He's got to save up the set point. EX gets the hit. It gets a knockdown. You got to be so worried about that EX bar at the bottom when it comes to Cody. Finally getting that medium sit situation off the knife to get the knockdown. The full conversion. The trade still in favor. He has him in the corner. V-Shift with the break says you better wait. Predictive V-skill. No punish though. Bulgaria.
If Weezal gets an opening while still having trigger, it's going to be pretty significant. It's going to lead to another situation where he could get guess for game. It's not going to be the case. It's still guess for game, actually. Oh, Bulgaria hanging on for dear life. One more sequence for Bulgaria. Could be living to fight another round. But Mizuha needs one good zonk, I feel like.
Can he go up that bar to get it? There it is. The threat of the EX zonk. Won't go confirm. Might be able to seal or close to doing so. With the clock, the whip to get the hit. Bulgaria with the drop. Oh, the crush, and that'll be it. Mizuha says, I'll make it hurt.
Cody wins.
We've seen that option exercised before pretty early on. I think that was in game 1 where he had thrown out the crouching heavy punch against Bulgaria, and Bulgaria had gotten out of the way on defense initially, but now the V-shift gets called out. Mizuha had already anticipated for a V-shift that early on and now find success out of it. That's actually pretty important, man. Being able to try to check that option very, very early off of a read is something to really talk about. Mizuha truly has been anticipating this particular matchup, and it shows, right? He's shown off some of the strategies that was well in advance prepared for someone like Bulgaria, right? In terms of like what his defensive capabilities are. So that was really well played from Mizuha, calling out multiple defensive options in regards to like button presses, counter poking, defense, options on defense. That's super important.
It's super important because, like, we talked about how defensive Bulgaria is. We see the bust out situation on the side. Bulgaria, he got that super in that sequence as his reversal. But, you know, going back to that defense, though, the defense that Bulgaria was able to show us this entire league season, even, like, throughout the entire season of, like, you know, Street Fighter, the CPTs and things like that, just the fact that, you know, Mizuha was able to blow that up, those offensive options, and the V-shift that we hadn't seen a lot of just in totality. We hadn't seen a lot of the V-shift come through in play overall. For him to call that out continuously at that last moment too as well. And not only that, called out the V-reversals too as well. Called the defensive text, called the defensive buttons. Just Mizuha was studying and studious, prepared for Bulgaria. Definitely looking for that option. And now we are looking right now at the 1-1. We are looking at a 1-1 situation as we are 20-20. The tiebreaker. It's first at death, baby. Who do you send up? I can't even tell. I think you put up Bulgaria. I think Bulgaria needs that revenge. I think Bulgaria needs that revenge though.
Maybe. Like, so if I'm a betting man, I would want to put Kawano up, but I also want to hear whether or not they're going to put Dogura, because Dogura also was kind of reluctant to play, like, I think 2 weeks ago, where they made, like, a last-minute switch. I forgot exactly when that happened. Oh, no, that was that week 4? Either way, I digress. Yeah, so Dogura actually was benched, but it's going to be Gatsukun, or maybe he's just giving the choices because he is the captain after all. Oh, it is going to be Gatsukun. He's stepping up to the plate.
Gatsukun.
I don't even know who to throw out.
So now who do we set up against Gatsukun? I heard Mizuha. Is he going to set up Mizuha?
Yeah.
I heard them talking, and the camera's focused on Mizuha. He said he got the anchor match. He still has the energy in him. He still has that dog in him. Can he get the job done for that 1-1? So it'll be him going up against Gatsukun. Very curious to see how it's going to rock. I like this idea because you already have a player he's already warmed up. He's already hot from his victory. Finally getting a win on the board, that big W for his team. Ride that momentum. We saw that with Mago previously for his team too as well. We beat Bonchan twice. Why not make it nice and have Mizuha go up when he's already warmed, prepped up, and hot and ready to take down someone like Gatsukun?
そうですね、ここまで来たらちょっとチームの勝ちで終わりたいんで、残りの5ポイント頑張って拾おうと思います。頑張ります。頑張ってください。ありがとうございます
Looks like Gatsukun says it's his first extra game. He's looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think you're absolutely right on the money. I think, you know, sending Mizuha in, especially after that anchor match, I think, you know, put him in the microwave for a couple of seconds. He's still gonna be hot and ready to go. Not gonna be a problem at all. So I think against Gachikun, this is gonna be a good choice. I think Cody does a pretty decent job either way, having that sway on deck to stop something like any sort of like whirlwind shot. To get past any of the normals that Rashid can present. So I do like this idea, not only in just like terms of Mizuha's momentum currently, but also just the character selection.
I definitely agree. You know, being able to counterpoke someone like Rashid with crouch, that wants to throw out crouch fierce and things like that. If you have a buffer with a medium and a zong, that's a ton of damage. That's a ton of corner carry too as well. And it's, you know, anti-air options aren't super bad. You know, standing fierce is a pretty good air option. You just have target combo air to air. But again, I gotta say that Mizuha, you know, being warmed up, you know, just on fire right now, being able to be dominant against someone like Pugera, I think he'll be ready to take down Gachikun. But again, Gachikun, as you know, him saying that it's his first extra game, he's looking forward to it. You got to think that he's ready for this to happen. You know, they set him up for a reason. I feel like a lot of players, after they've hit the first and one, at this point, they're ready for this first and one sort of style. Like, you know, you're ready for first and twos, first and threes throughout your tournament life, right? But a first and one is something you have to acclimate towards. And after seeing multiple happen, I think that a lot of players are like, okay, if this does happen, who do we send up? So I think Gachikun going up, he must have a game plan for a first one situation. Rashid in the first and one is a nasty character. That's the character that can just go over these scrambles and come out the victor continuously. So you have to be on game, on defense when it comes to someone like Cody, who does have the sway, but if he's knocked down, he doesn't really have a 3-frame to his name. He doesn't have a DP. He can go for the bad sand, but that can be meaty, so he's going to have to be very careful what he does.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to really consider. You know, both of these characters don't have a lot of invincibility on Wake Up, but Gachikun with Rashid, again, does have the normals at his disposal. We're going to see. Mizuha did a pretty good job of playing the counterpoke game against one of the longer-reaching characters, I feel like, you know, or at least having a decent amount of range in terms of the counterpoke game as well. Him handling the Balrog, I think he's going to be dealing with a similar sort of issue against Rashid. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays off against one of the best defenders in the business. I think, you know, again, Gachikun has... There's something about him this week. We don't see him as, like, in character. We don't see him, like, as jovial or kind of, like, carefree as he usually is. I think he's been, like, real serious business today. So really excited to see what he shows up with in the extra battle. Again, this is a whole different kind of gameplay or play style that you could expect in a first to one.
Exactly. You know, when it comes to acclimating, you have to be with the quickness. You're going to have to be quick with it and quick-witted. This is the first to one to get it done. 25 points are on the line right here. Mizuha versus Gachikun.
And I will say,
versus Rashid.
It's a very valid point. Very valid point you bring it up, too. 20 points on the board regardless for both teams. That's great if you're Gyogun. Not the best if you're a good 8 squad considering your lead. Like, you're still heightening or increasing your lead. But, again, you wanted to deter as many points as possible. But as it stands right now, Gachikun, yeah, the big counter poke low forward. Damn, he caught whatever it was from Mizuha right at the start.
If he should get another, there's this way we're talking about. The lean back with it, dash up back throw from Gachikun. Sway once again, you can't be doing that, my friend. Careful with those fireballs, you could see a V-skill right underneath from Gachikun. But look at that pressure, that heavy kick, the medium kicks too as well. Hiding it well, the back throw. Now the activation.
Excellent defense from Mizuha thus far. Completely weathering the storm. No usage, no advantage here for Gachikun. That V-trigger didn't really lead to much. And now it's all knives, right? Knives out.
Knives out. What a challenge. EX trying to find an opening off the low. The medium ruffian just commits to it, but the buffer is just fine. In that lands Gachikun, that set point situation right now. See if Mizuha can fight back.
Could have been anybody's game. That could have been anybody's game. But Gachikun right now, yeah, big crush counter, set up, save jump, empty jump low. He's now giving him the business. He's now starting things off pretty aggressively, yep. Forward throw.
That's 7-frame sweep. Gets the stun. About to get it done. One more sequence after this. Should seal it. Heavy mixer ender, of course, for the damage. He's going to land that perfect KO. For the fadeaway EX in play, clips him and gets that last hit. That means Gachaku is going to seal it for Good 8 Squad this week against Gyogun, putting them on the menu.
Yeah, that was a tough bet, especially after the way the first round had gone. We're seeing a lot of... There it is! There's a smile I was looking for from Gacha-kun. I will say, again, there was a lot to be said about Mizuha, the way he performed in round number 2. There wasn't as much confidence trying to deter Gacha-kun from moving forward, but he did get clipped a couple of times over, like in an unfortunate timing situation. But as it stands right now, again, Gacha-kun is just so quick-witted. You talked about it being quick-witted and quick-witted. He is a master of both. I feel like he was all over it. I love this pose right now is the exact same pose that Rashid's doing in his character portrait. I see you. I see what you're doing, Gacha-kun, and I appreciate that. Very nice.
Also appreciate how he acclimated to Mizuha's defense. Mizuha had great defense, as you pointed out, that first round going down, but it's just those adjustments off the crouch fierce into the fireball. Instead of just doing like normal fireball, he do EX or kind of let it whiff with it for a little bit, and that just caught Mizuha off his game where he couldn't use the sway continuously, and Mizuha not resorting to other defensive options, not being able to acclimate with the quickness, unfortunately got clipped with that EX fireball, and you see that team cheering right now. Happy about that victory. I expected a little bit more jovialness, after being able to pull out that W, but it was a little bit more close than maybe what they might have expected, and especially if you compare it to how they were dominant last year, maybe closer than maybe others might have expected too as well.
I do want to hear from the Good 8 Squad as we get our winning team interview translated and primed for you all. I'd imagine there's a lot to be said in the Pugera matchup, right? I think Kawano did just fine, Gacha-kun as well. They both got 2-0s under their belt. I think there's a lot to be said in regards to Pugera's performances thus far. He's been on the chopping block a couple of times over. He's not getting eliminated from the team. I didn't mean it that way, but he is pretty much like the topic of conversation right now. I think, in my personal opinion, I think Pugera, again, has had a phenomenal run up until week number 5, where he had to face off against Daigo, and there was a lot to be said in regards to how he approached that matchup. He wasn't expecting certain things from Daigo, and I think that might have shaken him up just a little bit. Once that confidence gets shaken up against Pugera, you start to see things, you start to see a trend, a downward trend in terms of his performance. But now we do have the interview already. Gacha-kun had said Gyogun prepped with a variety of characters, so he asked Kawano to start things off. Our tactics worked out pretty well. I enjoyed playing the extra game. A lot of general statements, but we did have a specific one specifically for Kawano going up first. I think riding that momentum is so important.
Absolutely, and I like the fact that they had, again, tactics ready and steady for these teams, things like that. Kawano going up, he says that he did recommend his statistics, so he had some statistics to put on the board that help guide these game plans, guide these blueprints for victory. And even though we saw Pugera kind of get broken down, I think what also makes Pugera break down just a little bit is the fact that he's been on a hot streak lately. He's been really dominant, besides his one loss to Daigo. And it's like one of those players that you have to look out for. It's like, this guy is doing damage. We have to have a game plan for him, so I'm assuming that they definitely had one. I mean, we definitely saw that with Mizuha and how he played, and he definitely had a game plan on how to deal with Pugera breakdown that defense. Pugera himself says that he played with both his eyes, and regret in doing that, he'll hide his other eye. I'm not sure what he means by that. Maybe that's a taunt, but Pugera always wild with it when it comes to his quotes.
Yeah, he has like a lot of profound statements. I don't think the eye is actually his physical eye. It's got to be a metaphor for something, right? He always has those kind of statements in every interview, and it's one day we will figure this out, St. Cola. So one of these days we're gonna figure out what he's talking about. But I think it could be like a reference to something where if he hinders one of his senses, then like he gets stronger. Maybe, I don't know, but I think he was too reliant on the eyes rather than instinct. I think there could have been like some sort of like profoundness in that regard, where he's like, I should have trusted my reads a little bit more instead of relying solely on maybe like looking at Mizuha's movement or looking at the character, etc. So there could be a lot more in regards to that statement. There's a lot that could be, it could be like up for interpretation.
It's very deep. Hope Pugera actually means that, because you never know with Pugera. But I definitely agree with that. And also, Dogura says his teammates said, well, first extra game, but the team leader Gachikun closed it with the W. They like to work together as a team, and Gachikun says the next match is with Kumamoto. He'd like to win in the first half with the W, as I'm sure everybody would. But you know that they'll be scheming to do the same thing on the side of Seoul, Kumamoto.
Yeah, it's gonna be so tough to see who will face off against each other in that week 7 to get themselves ready for the second half of the season. But a lot of donuts on the board, right? I don't feel like there's gonna be a lot of action in that regard in terms of the anti-air department, the XDPs, considering both characters. But the grab and throws, right? We've talked about Rashid being a real big problem in terms of trying to tech some of these throws. We do see a lot more of these loops from a character like from Rashid more often than others. But as it stands right now, again, a 25-point win for Good 8 squad. That puts them up pretty significantly, as if they didn't, you know, lead the boards already. That is 115 points, if I'm not mistaken. Again, increasing the lead against the number 2 spot Shinobiism Gaming at 160. But Gyogun, not too bad. 125 points. Puts them at 4th place currently.
We'll walk away with something. We're also going to look at a little something. In terms of the replays, we saw Kawano today in that first position, defeating Mago and making someone like Mago, who's so confident in his gameplay, walk down. And part of that is because of just disallowing options like this. Can't do V-trigger shots like that. Immediately goes for the V-reversal. EXDP, though, kind of got him back into his game plan, but again, those hits were able to land. I like that option, being able to skate step underneath. I didn't really catch that fully when it happened, but him having that option against that medium punch and having options against the buttons of this Luke, because we've seen what Luke can do when he hits you. We've seen how much damage he can do, but Kawano having options, being prepared for that was fantastic to see, and making, again, Mago feel uncomfortable and unusual, not being able to get those anti-airs like he usually has, or those confirms, meant that Kawano was able to land a very decisive victory.
Yeah, a lot of critical errors, I think, in regards to what Mago intended to do, and also what his intentions were on Wake Up. Like, I think there was just a lot to be said in regards to like what Mago was doing, waking up with a normal first, then the EX uppercut. Not really Mago style, but speaking of styles, you know, we've seen Gachikun switch from being offensive to defensive. Actually, vice versa. We've seen the movement come into play. There was a lot of reads coming out from both players. I think it was more of a mental game, a lot of instinct that was involved in this matchup. But once Gachikun got that big opening, I felt like it was another day at the office. Granted, it was super close in regards to both players getting this W, but going into the final matchup, Mizuha pretty much put in the brakes on Pugera, and we see how it played out thus far. That was the key right there. He was already looking at how often Pugera was using movement, was using that V-shift to get out of harm's way. I loved him taking note of that.
And then we see right here, Pugera exemplifies some more defensive options, finding a super in the gap like that, but just everything got broke down. There were a lot of good moments for Pugera, like not to get it twisted, but it's just as things went on, you talked about that confidence got weared down continuously as Mizuha got more aggressive. You started committing to a lot more of the EX situations, the plus from situations, instead of just waiting. Obviously, that's hard. We see things like that, EX low clip you, but then again, you have the EX on. When you're done playing neutral, there's a way to play. If you're done not dishing out damage, there's a way to take them to the destination right there. See, this confirms that Cody can dump out a ton. And after this post-stun fun right here, that's a ton right here. That, I think, was enough to do it. Yes, sir. And look at how optimal Mizuha is. I feel like he's getting back in his back with this character. I mean, it's only recently he switched with this character. It was this season that he kind of switched over with Cody and Luke. So it's great to see him finally found his route with this character. And you see the drops, unfortunate, and the call out on the V-shift. And that led us to the final death match right here of the night. Of this match.
This was mad close. Yeah, this was actually extremely close round one. That could have been anybody's game. And Mizuha, again, he was holding his ground pretty well. I think there was something to be said in regards to like this. I think there was like a couple of moments where he actually tried to bait out a reversal from the side of Gachikun in round one. It was weird. Like he did a tick throw again and he just waited. Like Rashid is not able to do any of that anymore. Like I think he might have forgotten, but like I hate to kind of make that assumption because these are all top level players, but just thinking about it, like looking at that tick throw setup, it's like, what else could you be looking for? You know what I mean? Like, there isn't really much that Rashid can do on Wake Up anymore. But either way, good 8 squad coming up the victor. Gachiku taking full advantage of that, like living to see another day. He was just going right for it afterwards. You see how that very, very common aggressive play from him. But they're going to be moving on. They're going to be big chilling going into week number 6, or sorry, week number 7. They get to hang out and see how Hiroshima Team Ikuza versus Goya Oja Body Star, aka Mildom, gets to play out.
We hung out in the Battle Lounge right here. I should say the Battle Hub of Street Fighter 6. That was a super sick thing. The beta had just recently went through, played a little bit of that Guile. At a first attack, had a lot of fun. I know y'all had a lot of fun with the beta. I'd like to know your impressions. Get at me and Vicious and Capcom. Let us know what's going on. And I'll let you know what's going on this weekend. CPT Japan is coming through for another one, the third one. Make sure you're keeping your eyes locked and loaded. It's going to be a heavy one, right, Vicious?
Yeah, this is the World Warrior, by the way. Again, yeah, this is going to be a couple of more events up until, I believe, November. And then December, they're going to have those qualifiers. And then just right around Christmas time is when we're going to see those top 8 spots duke it out for their spot into the big dance. So it's going to be very, very close coming into it. I can't believe it's already the 3rd month. We get to see another set of World Warriors come through all across the world, actually. If you guys want to check it out for yourself, again, October 22nd, around 1300 hours is what you could expect for Japan Standard Time. But for those that have been following from the Japanese scene, first and foremost, thank you for tuning in to the English broadcast. You do have it at the luxury of your, Japanese brethren as well. Be sure to follow at Capcom_esports to get all the updates in regards to anything that comes up for Street Fighter League Japan, and also tweet at them as well for some of these cool giveaways. I don't know what it is per se, but I'll tell you what, that's a good number, 5,000. Whatever it is, I'm that. So, with that in mind, we do appreciate you guys tuning in. We still have a lot more to go through. It's going to be Hiroshima Team Ikuza versus the Goya Oja Body Star coming in after this break. We'll see you real soon.
こちら番組の中でご紹介させていただきますので、どしどしよろしくお願いいたします。そして現在ご覧いただいている YouTube、Twitch の各チャンネル登録、Twitter のフォローもよろしくお願いいたします。さあこの後は試合準備のため一度インターバルを取らせていただきます。こちら21時20分からは第6節 Day2 マッチ2広島チームイクサ対名古屋王者ボディスターミルダムの模様をお届けしてまいります。それでは一旦失礼いたします。
ご安全にな。お、新入りかな。うん、いい顔に撮れてるじゃないか。改めて担当教官のルークだ。よろしくな。
始めるかしよう。勝負だ。投票入りでごわす。
手加減は期待しないでくれ。
Here comes a new challenger. Fighter 6. Scrap heap. Ready. Start.
We are back from the break, and it's time for some more beatdowns here at Street Fighter League Japan. My name is Seikolo. I'm joined with Vicious, and we're in the second half of matches as we see Team Hiroshima Itsuka go up against the Goya Oja Body Star Miladam. It's going to be something deadly out here because Hiroshima needs as much as possible to get on the board. They're in last place spot, but they're going up against a top-tier team. Vicious, how do you feel about what we're going to see up the deck right now?
Well, we see Akira the Lightning Star coming in, leading the pack as expected, right? He's been the captain. He's been performing up to par with the legend that is Daigo Umehara, living up to the name as well with the attack heavy tank that is Fudo with a plethora of characters. We've seen him exercise both Poison and Luke thus far. And of course, surrounded out, Narikun, the White Omen, with that Akira in play as well. It's going to be a very, very tough and intimidating matchup, to say the least, trying to get some points on the leaderboard. Nagoya Ojibwatasar currently in third, and again, as you mentioned, Ika's up down below with 55.
All right, let's take a look at Team Itsuka. Who they have on the deck today is going to be the Storm Reset himself, Storm Kubo. See if we can weather what he puts out with that Abigail. Then we have the Glitting Personage himself, Gunfight with the Oro and the Alex play. My guy. Then we have the Crux himself, the Bison player with the business, Inaba. After that, it's going to be Coward. See ya, taking a big bite of that donut, trying to give you a donut. It's going to be Crusher. What a team is going up on the deck right here with a lot of unique characters, but they need everything, points as possible, to get up on the board. As you mentioned, as we both mentioned, they are on the lower half. They are at the very end. They need more to get up and soar. They need more to get up in that middle point. They need more to be above the other players out here. But this is going to be tough. You've got Daigo, Fudo. You get the new blood out here too, Akira. You got Narikun. It's going to be difficult.
You're not kidding. You're absolutely not kidding. And look at the order, too. Narikun is going to be taking a spot on the bench this week. It's going to be Akira with Kami, Fudo with Poison, Daigo with Guile. How do you match up against that? Well, to kind of help us with our decision making, Hamiko had predicted, you know, if Akira goes first, if Akira goes first, excuse me, Hamiko suggested Storm Kubo to go up front and use Abigail.
Really? See what they pick? I think Inaba's going to be a very pivotal point in terms of like these matchups just in general, because two characters that we see up on that screen, Guile and Poison, get duffed down by Bison. So like I feel like he is going to be pivotal, but he's going up first. That is kind of wild to see Bison go up against Kami, where it's maybe, I wouldn't say evener this season, maybe 5.5 in Kami's favor, but still not fun for Bison to deal with. That aerial approach is still difficult to deal with. You have a predictive crouch fierce. You have to go to the air right there with the hell attack. It's going to be hard, but Inaba must have a game plan. He is one of the most technical Bisons we have seen in the business thus far. See what he has.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest deterrents of this matchup is not being able to contest against something like the airborne approach as consistently, considering the anti-airs have been taken away. But the good thing about this, you know, this new mechanic that we've had not too long ago is, you know, the V shift. I think that's going to be pretty important, right? I think that's going to be a big consideration factor for the matchup at hand. I think Inaba is more than ready to utilize said tactic against the Speedstar. I think it's going to be just fine. You talked about it being like 5.5 possibly in Kami's favor. I could believe that. I could genuinely believe that as well. But I think there's going to be a lot of finer, minute details that come with the territory in regards to how the defense is played. So we'll see how that plays out. I mean, it could be used for either or, right? I mean, Kami can utilize it well to go against some of the longer reaching pokes that Bison has, right? So we'll see how this plays out. Honestly, it's all down to who utilizes their V-shift better on defense.
I definitely agree. We'll hopefully see that mechanic come into play. Akira says, Inaba, I just saw him in Hiroshima last week. He always lets me win, so I'm hoping he let me win again today. Inaba says something a little bit more serious. He's been working on the Kami matchup. He's kind of been stalking on Akira, so I'm assuming that he has, you know, been studying Akira quite a bit. You know, Inaba, we talked about how good he is in the technicality of his character. We've seen him utilize great defensive maneuvers, things like that, move with the character of Bison, which is kind of hard because Bison has slow walk speed. And he's had pretty decent results, 3-3. He beat Woke's Rashid with Bison in the anchor match, was defeated by Pugera's Balrog in the anchor match, defeated the defensive Shudo in the first of two, and John Takeuchi's Cody, then lost in the first one against Inaba's Geef, and then lost also to Momochi's Cody pretty decisively in an anchor match. So he's doing fairly well, but I'd like to see how he's going to operate in this match. Like, if he's going up, like, obviously all these players have a game plan. Even if the matchup may not be as favorable, they have a reason why they're going up. So assuming that he's always been beating Akira, maybe that's the reason. He's like, okay, if I did it to him out here in Hiroshima in a local or whatever, or an event, I could do it to him here at Street Fighter League. But it's something different out here. It's a different sort of flavor. It's a different sort of stadium.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. Technically, it's the Hiroshima Ikuza Stadium, as you can see on top of the commentators above. Also, I didn't get to mention this earlier, but it's so good to have Hamiko back. I mean, I actually got to watch the pre-show, the Japanese pre-show as well. We had some praise for Hamiko coming back in the chat as well. I'm glad he's thriving and surviving. I'm glad he's doing all right. Yamato also throwing it down each and every week, along with like Aru and Nanai. We've seen them pretty much swap in to help with the commentary duties. So glad to have Hamiko back. But again, this is Team Hiroshima Ikuza's stadium. We'll see if this is going to come into play, give him some sort of morale boost. But as it stands right now, again, we got to see how the Bison versus Cammy matchup goes in the hands of these two professionals, right? I'm really curious to see it. It's a very strange back and forth, I feel like, between these two. I actually wanted to check out their CFN a little bit beforehand, but I just missed that opportunity. I will say, you know, Inaba has been doing a lot of the homework against Cammy's, even before Akira. But that's like, it's not really much to talk about that, considering Cammy's been a character for, you know, been the character actually within the realm of top 5 in almost every season of Street Fighter V's lifespan. So it's like, what do you do now against somebody who's this aggressive? Like, do you think Akira is going to pretty much like pull out all those stops or pull out all the brakes against someone like Inaba?
I think 100%. I think that aggression is going to have to be put on the pedal to pass him over. You know, I think that you have to get aggressive when it comes to Bison. You have to not let him exert his pressure, but you also have to be careful about the buttons that you put out. Obviously, Cammy's buttons are a lot more whip punchable this season, crouch fierce and things like that. So you have to be careful about what happens, what you economy of buttons that you spend. I do think that, you know, go back to your point of the V-shift, I think that is going to have to be an important factor for Inaba, saving that V-bar for that instance. Not about, you know, having that comeback, but being able to find not only defensive tactics, but also punishes. If we see the wake up EXTK dive kick, he's going to have to go for that V-shift and get a full punish in the target combo, in the V-skill and things like that. But he's going to have to be on game, because that's going to be easier said than done, because every time her feet lift off the ground, it feels like a mix-up. Is it going to be a jump fierce? Is it going to be a jump heavy kick? Is it going to be a dive kick? Let's see what is on the menu for the mix. Akira versus Inaba.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty wild. We're going to see a pretty explosive start, I feel like, more so from Akira. But I think in general, because they're very much so familiar with each other, right? We had that opening statement talking about the pre-game interview about how Akira and Inaba have played before, but we'll see. Game number 1, already making a critical error. Inaba thinking he had a buffer, or at least was buffering that standing heavy punch. Akira happened to walk within that range and cause that error to happen.
Okay, he's able to capitalize to get that Oki going and flow and put him in the corner. Now where you want to be is Bison. The kick to get some distance. Yeah, so hard to anti-air because you're just waiting for that right range and it comes out a little bit late with the crouch fierce. Rebuttal with the light, end up blast. V-shift. You were talking about V-shift spent on the side of Cammy too as well.
Oh, and you were actually able to get that throw bait against Inaba? A lot of flailing involved, I gotta say. And getting out of the way of the V-trigger command grab. How did he know?
That knowledge, when you play somebody over and over again, you start understanding the tendencies. And I think that Inaba got a little bit too comfortable in these round start situations. You have to clean this up. Zakira is in his bag. Oh, down 4 fierce. Swipe the paint. Yo, the violence right back with the fierce sledgehammer, break through the wall of Inaba. Bring him in the corner.
Oh, yeah, we see the V-shift into the break as well. Yeah, low forward into the crush counter, thinking it's his turn again. And in hot pursuit. Yeah, a big interruption from Akira. That was a first yet again. Yeah, again, we've seen so many of this option being utilized so many times over. The throw and another one. You already got it. Yep, that's going to be game number 1 for Akira in the speedy fashion that we expected it to be.
I like how he's rearing back like he was having issues right there. Picking his neck. He's like, oh man, this is difficult. But it is difficult because you have to be on point with your V-shift timings and things like that. Especially on the way that Bison comes down. But I, again, like that game plan, utilizing the V-shift. That's how you typically deal with Bison. But even before V-shift, we saw people use V-bar for V-reversal. You also have the distance to deal with the character. And now you see V-shift as a way to play, to keep in the game, and also stay in that right range. He doesn't go for a break. He stays for V-shift, just spins that, just to stay up close and personal against Bison, and not to be in that down four fierce range, have to contest those fantastic buttons of the character, and puts him against the corner. In Inaba, again, not being able to get that aggression going and flowing, not being able to get that pressure you typically see from Bison, because there's too many gaps. V-shifted over and over again. Good stuff. Round versus game to Akira.
Yeah, it's been super smart, right? Being able to utilize it at just, what, half a bar? That's not going to be too bad of a deal, right? I think, you know, getting out of those situations where you'd have to guess, like, which way the Devil Reverse is going to end up, or, like, how he's going to hit you in certain instances with, like, a meaty or, like, a heavier normal. Really impressive. But what's also pretty impressive was that round start from Akira, walking within ranges where Inaba wanted to buffer a normal, like that standing heavy punch that got canceled into the Psycho Inferno. We want to see more of those kind of like instances, I feel like. So we see Inaba change it up just a little bit too.
All right, target combo. Get some damage. And not coming to that fierce with a dash situation here from Akira. Lands a hit. And the dash up throw too as well, taking to the corner and threatening with that crouch community kick. Says, I get this hit, I'll cancel the spiral arrow just like that. Puts him in the corner. Interruption of the EX scissor kick, harassing with that medium. There's the V-shift in the break.
I feel like against the Psycho Axe, he might be able to like get a punish, but that's neither here nor there. We get the Shadow Axe target combo. We do have the bomb planet forward throw. Now he gets to set up. He gets to be pretty ambiguous with the approach. Still plus frames. No, not plus enough. He actually tried to steal a turn, and Akira was more than ready for it. We see a slight smile on his face, but I think we also see a little bit of a wince too. Yeah, he did not want to spend a full critical art for it, and I totally get that. But, you know, winning is winning. He's going to take that, put himself at match point. Inaba's got to find a strategy, man. He's got to find a way in.
I mean, you know, Kami's a battery. She definitely builds a bar. She's so aggressive. On hit or on block. Pulling that bar to make it drop. Crouch kick into the EX. Gets a hard knockdown. Dash up. Goes for the light. He tries to get funky with the down four fierce to catch a throw. I love these flip out options. That distance to get the crouch kick. Power arrow backs away from the EX at plate. Look at, he knows the timing of what Inaba wants to do. These are just reads upon the player.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to see. Oh my God. You know, you had initially said it 5.5 in Kami's favor. It still remains. It still remains. It all depends on how people utilize that V-shift against each other, man. And, you know, Akira happened to get the most of it. We didn't see that many airborne approaches, and I loved it about him. And we've seen a lot more aggression coming from Inaba, which I also enjoyed. But you could tell, man, there's a lot of familiarity between these two. We know how these sets kind of go. And Akira had mentioned it earlier. He's just hoping that Inaba lets him win. And he did so again today.
Definitely felt like Inaba was definitely trying, but like, you know, it did kind of look like Inaba kind of gave him the W. Even that was because Akira was playing so on point and so aggressive on the ground, so dominant on the ground. I mean, typically you definitely do see the jump ins from Kami, but you see Inaba back up at ranges where you will be able to reliably get the hell attack, or you maybe get crouch fierce, but it was so ambiguous. And I think that, like, watching for the skies, watching for the air approach, even though it never really came that often, just watching for that put a lot of mental stack on Inaba, not being able to get comfortable up in this match, and continuously saw the V-shift. I think when it comes to these matchups getting more and more solidified in terms of Street Fighter 5, because I feel like they're still kind of getting sussed out, figured out as we get more of the meta and we get more of these, you know, world sort of play. V-shift is going to be such an important thing for these matchups. You see right here, there was some anti-airs, one anti-air on the side of Inaba, but not a lot. One big jump in also led him to the corner. And we saw one anti-air not really happy, not a lot of jumps on the side, but one did work out. But overall, I like the fact that he went for these V-shifts and started getting punishes, as you had pointed out. The punishes were definitely the key overall to start sealing things. I'm going to do a V-shift and a punish. That's how I'm going to get my victory. Not just V-shift and punish.
Yeah, that's so important, right? Being able to utilize that as we see the stats again to kind of double glance over at what had happened. But fact of the matter is, Akira took it down 2-0 against Inaba, 10 points over. Now it's time for the Fudo match in game number 2, or sorry, set number 2 in this best of 3, and that's going to be the Poison. You know, we saw him fall pretty significantly in the anchor match last week, so now he's going to be set up as the middleman. Who do you send up? Well, we did have that answer from Hamiko, but before I reveal that, yo, Senkola, I couldn't guess anything correctly. Who's coming up next?
I thought Inaba was going to come up for this matchup or for the Gao matchup, but whatever. I set up gunfight. I think Alex does a decent job against Poison. I don't think he beats Poison, but I think he can get in the character, make it feel usual. But again, what do we know? Storm Kubo going up. He's got a game plan, but he is pulling out the Alex, though. He is going to play Alex, it looks like.
Oh, that's confirmed? Ooh, I like that. That is confirmed, yeah. He's going in with Alex. So, I mean, you had the right idea. Like, you wanted Alex to be the point of contention for Fudo's Poison, but it's just going to be piloted by a different crazy person. I feel like Storm Kubo is definitely that wild child. He has the grappler mentality in him. Same with Gunfight. All due respect, I think both of these players pilot the character very, very well. So we'll see how this plays out. I'm surprised. I'm genuinely surprised that it's coming in from Storm Kubo. I think, you know, the Abigail is going to be just fine too. I mean, it actually kind of sucks having to play like Abigail versus Poison, but Alex versus Poison, I'd imagine that would have been something up Gunfight's repertoire, right? That should have been something that should have been discussed with the team more thoroughly, because he is the Alex main, right? He's been the Alex main for a while.
Yeah. We've only seen Storm Kubo, I want to say, like, I guess recently switched the character. I mean, he's dabbled previous seasons, but has kind of made the switch and put him in his toolkit. So maybe having someone that's more signified in that matchup would have been a better move. But we'll see, because maybe Storm Kubo, just the way that he plays, I think he's a little bit more wild in some instances, maybe not in the same sort of way as Gunfight, because Gunfight can get kind of wild too as well. But maybe that kind of, you know, hard to read sort of style might help him out. And maybe it's also the fact that he has a Dan in his back pocket. He can kind of, you know, make Fudo uncomfortable with that character, but I don't think he should pull out the Dan. I don't think he should pull out the Dan. I think it's the Alex is the way to go either way. And overall, though, Storm Kubo's stats are not looking so hot, so maybe he also is looking for a W, and that's kind of pressuring him to get that W and maybe help push him. He lost to Nemo with both his Alex and his Dan, and then lost to Itabashi Geef with the Abigail mirror match in an anchor match. So he's definitely looking for some points, hungry for them, and trying to get that win. It's going to be hard, though. Fudo is a tough contender.
Yeah, the last time we saw Alex played off, and this is something we see pretty much every night. This is between Senkola and I, we see that Alex play off against Nemo's Urien every single time, but that's the last time we saw the Alex. All jokes aside, I think, you know, with Storm Kubo, he doesn't really get to exercise this kind of character, and that's kind of like one of the biggest drawbacks of being, you know, the jack of all trades, master of none kind of guy, where you have like Abigail, Dan, as well as Alex in your repertoire. It's like, do you like how do you decide who's gonna come up next for your specific matchups, right? It's gonna be so tough to get that kind of consistency that you would like in regards to like certain matchups that you're playing off against.
Overall, the matchup, though, for Alex, you know, he does have the EX elbow that can get in against his character and act that strike throw that you want to do against Poison. And you put him in the corner, he doesn't really have many options to get out unless he's using like confirm into like a cartwheel to get out, all right? Or like V triggers, looking for like crouch meeting kick, things like that off the low. So I think that Alex does have, you know, the aerial approach too, as well as the stomp. And if he has that V skill stocked up, you know, which is able to do full screen, he can definitely do some damage to that character. He definitely, you know, cancel, make things goofy. But again, how strong is your Alex against someone like Fudo? How strong is your Alex prepared to get someone like Fudo? When you've been practicing your Dan, we were practicing your other characters, is it enough to take down someone like Fudo? who has, you know, been pretty good out here. You know, he beat White Shimochi 7 in the anchor match with Mika, beat John T's Cody with Poison in the anchor match in the Manat from Sako with Mika, or from Mika, I'm sorry, and then beat Momochi with his Poison, but then he lost to Kawano's Lucia, which is kind of caught off guard a little bit, but overall that's a pretty dang good record, and he's done really good at the CPT World Warrior event too as well, getting quite a bit of points on the board.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the accolades coming in from Fudo. He's got it all, man. He's been one of the most consistent and dominant players year after year, no matter what iteration of Street Fighter he touches. So I think there's a lot to be said. You know, Storm Kubo has had his moments where he's taken down some of the Titans, but as it stands right now, he's got quite the Titan ahead of himself. Poison in this particular matchup, we've discussed the ins and outs of it. St. Cola has given the breakdown. It's all a matter of whether or not Storm Kubo can execute. This team needs the points now more than ever. Again, just one more week away before the halfway point. So we'll see how soon Storm Kubo steps up to the plate with Alex versus Fudo piloting this Poison yet again. We see the charge at the V-Scale 2. And again, we talked about that as a point of entry.
Stopping him was Fudo with that fierce, denying that. With the damage here and there. That mid-whip, there's the elbow, even raw. Makes it fall, and I like that. At that distance, at the tip, chop coming in, EX addition, B-Scale stocked up on the Oki, V-reversal, but that doesn't matter much because he gets the extension right there. Does have bar for the big follow-up though. We're able to get the side switch.
I love that, yeah, the V-reversal, get him out of the corner. Not really feeling the heart rate as much. He's so much activity coming in from Storm Kubo. And look at the deficit that Fudo has to play at. But if anybody can do it, it's definitely Fudo. He's come back from worse. Just about a pixel away. Storm Kubo, can he close it out? He's done this against Nemo before, but he wasn't able to close it out. But he has that chance yet again. The slash elbow coming in. Fudo ran right into it, hook, line, and sinker.
Still taking the bite. And it's unfortunate because Fudo's looking for that super to seal it right there to get that round. Let's spin the bar right here for the EX. Gets the throw. Fierce V-shift though. Flips him leaving. Sun's rising still. Fudo getting a little bit more aggressive. I like that from Fudo. Change up the pace and place it where he's placed himself as his character. And also, what he's doing the neutral. V-reversal. Spin some of that V-bar. Not able to stock up is Storm Kubo, but he's going in with the 4 fierce. Such an aggressive button. Ooh, EX knees as an anti-air. Again!
Oh, the backdash out of there. That could have been so important. You know, Storm Kubo, had he landed that command grab, it would have put Fudo in such a dire situation. Good call out defensively, but no, sir, wait a minute. Spinning DDT. +3. He tried to contest, and that's more than enough. Yo, Storm Kubo getting game number 1. Fudo actually was put on tilt a little bit after the forward fears. Again, a +3 scenario, thinking, you know, Storm Kubo might be a crazy person and try to go for the command grab. He caught 2 for flinching instead.
He rub his hands like that. He's like, okay, now I'm ready to play. Now I see that this Alex is real. Now I see why they put Storm Kubo getting aggressive with it, but man, oh man, is he finding those right confirms and that B skill, being able to just continue to harass this character. Those elbows too as well, just how he approaches the neutral. It's hard for Fudo to get a rhythm and like just a read, and he's forced to use V-bar or V-shift and V-reversal. We'd rather use it for V-trigger for damage, making Poison the one to spin V-bar.
Pretty important observation, to be honest with you. Again, having that V-trigger one could spell so much damage. But as it stands right now, that was actually, what kind of exchange was that? That was such an odd interaction. I had never seen it that way before. Plus frames afterwards, has to use the V-reversal. Fudo on pretty much last legs. It's so tough. It's so tough to get out of this corner.
You can't jump. Slap chop. One more hit to get the win. V-reversal. Where you going? I'm not done talking to you with the meeting you through. Storm Kubo catching the V-shift with a fantastic button for a closer right there, because it's non-committal, hard to whip punish. Honestly, Alex has some good footsies just in general with his buttons overall right now. Yeah. Storm Kubo is looking real good here. He's on set point.
We're looking for a full blowout. We're looking for a full blowout of your Storm Kubo for your team. Fudo close to stun though. He's gonna have something else to say about it. He's not going down quietly into the night. No sir, there's the activation. There's the lariat, it actually finds the mark. Got the chokehold. The sleeper hold, excuse me.
Night, heavy kick.
Boy.
Yeah, he's gonna go for that super immediately. Expeditionally sees the bar at the bottom, does not want anything to deal with it at all. I don't think this is gonna kill. Yeah, not enough. Rush counter scaling, saves him for a little bit. But Storm Kubo, not gonna make the comeback this round. Staving it off is Fudo and staying in the game. Expensive.
That's so dangerous too. That's absolutely so dangerous. Letting somebody like Fudo live to see another round. You want to get rid of him as soon as you can. We see the slash elbow being a big point of contention against the way Fudo wants to play. Again, he has to space himself out with the heart rate so often. And I'm loving the call-outs from Storm Kubo as well. Plus frames, what do you do about this? If you're Universal, having to spend it early. Finding an escape too, Fudo threading the needle, getting the jump out, and now gets to dictate the corner pressure. With the tech throw, find success. Heart rate, plus frames, get off me. Universal, says Storm Kubo, out of the corner now.
Oh. Yo, what a V-shift punish, and the jump in once again to get the, not the win just yet, but the fadeaway will still seal it right there. Fudo having all the defensive options to not get got by the stun gun headbutt. My guy is still in it. Fudo. And also his aggression too as well. You see these bursts, these dashes off the mediums. He's starting to get a lot more of that close range sort of gameplay. And that's kind of the danger of Fudo when it comes to other Poison players. We compare him to someone like Idom, who likes to be a little more on the lame side. Fudo loves to get aggressive. He loves to have these bursts every so often where you're not expecting a character like Poison to get the dash in, and she's still deadly in that range.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many different ranges where Poison can be deadly. I think the most dangerous is this one right here, specifically with that heart rate, setting him as far back as possible. And I love that. Yeah, and I love the activity, being very aware of the airborne approach is Fudo. Couple of slash elbows and checking the movement immediately afterwards. That was a little bit of an awkward exchange, but still managed to get a couple of the whips.
Oh. Didn't catch him lacking with that tech. That's still high though. Fudo now getting clipped. Here's the activation, crouch fears, dash up, command grab. Let this be a highlight reel, says Storm Kubo. And get the chase on the V shift, but has him caught in the corner. Shifting the break this time to get some space up in this place. EX, but good defense here from Storm Kubo. For how long can you block the throw? More hit after this will do it.
Oh! That was so awkward. That was a heavier flash chop too. Man, Storm Kubo was all over the place. Fudo cannot keep him contained on match point yet again. That was a multiple scramble situation, omelets for the entire team. There's just been so much to keep track of, and Storm Kubo still managing to keep it together.
Fudo saying, I'd like mine over easy, please. This is not looking so easy for this character, for this player. Trying to find a way in. Storm Kubo has the threat of the EX, but here's the crush though from Fudo in the V-skill pickup, doing some of that V-bar. Brassing with that crouch fierce. Well spaced too, not punishable.
And I love the V-shift reversal, sorry, the V-shift punish on the EX stomps against Alex is so smart. We've been waiting to see that option exercised by Fudo, and the anti-air is still there. Storm Kubo on the hunt, trying to be as aggressive as he could be while remaining as safe as possible considering the deficit. There's the boot, there's the activation, firing right back. Now it's Storm Kubo's turn again.
The corner of Universal, but the bar is juiced up right here for Storm Kubo. Goes for the chip, no dip, and that'll do it. That'll take us. The final game, final round between the two. I love the fact that Storm Kubo's fighting back, but now you see Fudo with these better round starts and holding this lead. That's another thing about Poison. Wants to hold the lead as much as possible in many matchups, and she can definitely control that aspect of the neutral continuously. Storm Kubo has to start off better. Trying to do so. Interruption. Dash and counter hit. Fudo clicking him low.
Oh, there's the anti-air. Fudo trying to remain out of the corner as well. You see a lot of aggression and one bad call out from Fudo, thinking the heart rate was going to catch Storm Kubo airborne. No, sir. He's keeping the ground game intact. Slash elbow still pushing Fudo slowly to the corner. The roundhouse boot still coming in, knocking. When's he going to knock down that door?
Let's open up. It's a locked door. No entry. Looking kind of free. One more sequence, we'll seal it. One more hit in the super. Fudo's looking for it. He'll get it from that distance, from downtown, because Fudo is on fire, burning up Storm Kubo and cooking him like barbecue. You're through.
That's going to be the big tide turner. You can see the disgruntled look on Storm Kubo's face, thinking he had it. There's been multiple instances where he did have those moments, right? He did have his shining moments as Alex. Match point 2 times in a row against Fudo. And you can see he's still sitting in his seat. He's still pressing some buttons. He's still pretty ecstatic about it. But that leaves us to our anchor match with Daigo. But before we even get into that again, it was so close. There was so much, I feel like, a lot of guessing involved from Fudo's behalf in regards to like the mid-range game, which is pretty scary. I feel like there was a lot more guessing in the mid-range, more so than like the up-close encounters.
We definitely saw a lot of scrambles, and Alex can kind of thrive in those situations. For Fierce Crush, you're so afraid of the command grab, gets close with it, especially the light one that has so much range with that, and you're so afraid of just getting hit for 40% of your life, especially when he's got that V-trigger, if you're standing. However, Fudo says, if I just pull back a little bit, have these better leads, make him come to me to get those W's, right? Make him overextend to get the win. Make him, jump in and things like that, I'll be feeling better. I'll be feeling more on point. And that's where we see Fudo able to get that victory, built the bar enough for that super to seal it. And now we see a lot more anti-airs on the side of Storm Kubo. We saw that crouch fierce, the EX, but that made Fudo stay more grounded. So not for nothing, Storm Kubo had some great moments where he was, checking him outside the skies, doing great, chasing down the V-shifts and stuff like that. It was almost a highlight reel in favor of Storm Kubo. However, Fudo stayed planted, stayed on the ground, round after round, and took him down. Good stuff. And the techs were 100%. Jeez, Fudo. No grips.
Yeah. He is a defensive monster, whether it be teching all the grabs, blocking and making the right predictions on a plus frame scenario where you could get command grab. He's been on point with it. But I think the biggest defensive maneuvers he could have taken throughout the entirety of that set was his decisions on picking movement as the option, right? He weaved his way out of the corner so often and so consistently. That was quite impressive to not take that much damage getting himself out of the corner. I think that's like a masterclass in terms of using movement to your advantage. But yeah, Crusher is going to be coming up next. I think that's what's I think we kind of saw that coming as well, going up against Daigo's Guile. I think there's a lot to be said in regards to this matchup. I think Birdie still has a pretty decent job getting past projectiles, mostly with Bullhorn. So I'm kind of curious to see. I think Daigo is more than ready for this particular matchup, right? And in regards to like prep time Daigo, what else can really be said? I think there's a lot to talk about in regards to like the pregame sentiments. A lot of these players like, oh, I expected this matchup. I had seen X, Y, and Z coming. I'm gonna do my best. I'd imagine that's the exact kind of statement we could hear from Daigo. But Crusher is who I actually wanted to hear from, and I'm glad they actually pointed the camera over to him in regards to what he has specifically for the Daigo matchup.
Before we get to that, Daigo actually said, lately, I've been losing against Birdie, so he's been practicing hard. So, like as you pointed out, he is the prep time of the FGC, players, things like that. He is the prep time when it comes to top level players. Always having something ready. If he is losing to something, he's going to find an answer. But back to Crusher. Watching him play, even in matchups where it may not be perfect for the character, watching him have an answer. We saw that in CPT, how we got the top 8 spot. He took down 2 Sims, and I have to emphasize how important that is. That is a hard matchup for Birdie. That is a very unfavorable matchup for Birdie. But having a game plan of putting them in the corner with the EX bar and building that up and predicating around that just shows that he also has prep time himself, and he's been a long-time fan of this character. Crusher says he would like to win this for his team. A lot is on the line. In the anchor position, it's going to be very difficult. And Crusher himself is maybe not doing the best out in the league right now. He's 1-3. He lost to Machibo, Nakali, and Dogura Bison, but then won against Nauman's Luke, but then lost to Yamaguchi's Luke. So he'd love to get more points to the board, especially in this anchor seat, and seal it for his team.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to be said in regards to like what Crusher needs to do, but like all of his matches thus far have been like kind of close too. I don't recall any sort of like big blowouts from the side of Crusher other than like the Yamaguchi matchup, but that was against Luke. I think contesting against that kind of fireball is a whole different story in compared to dealing with a Sonic Boom, right? We have something that kind of comes out a little bit slower. What's crazy is that like I feel like Sandblast comes out at the speed, if not faster, than an EX Sonic Boom, which is wild to think about, right? I think it's super crazy to even try to contest against. So I think in this particular matchup, Crusher is going to have an easier time navigating past the projectiles, which is going to be a huge deterrent for Daigo. I feel like we're going to see how often Daigo is still going to resort to even chucking out some of these booms. But it's a very shallow analysis. Let's see how it actually plays out between these two. It's Crusher versus Daigo. What you could expect and see is Birdie versus Guile.
Of course. We go with the Beast. Let's see if he's able to feast against Crusher. We have the Sonic Booms. He does have the different timing that he can rely upon, so there's always going to have to be pinpoint precision right here from Daigo. You definitely do not want to get knocked out against this character. Have in front of your face. The walk down pressure right here from Crusher. Blocking it out. Able to jump in on someone like Daigo. Air to air. The jump back, the Classico.
I was just talking to him about that the other day too. I'm like, you know, I can't call it the Classico because I'm from a different era. I call it the PR Rog every time because he would do that all the time as Balrog. I literally, it's so funny. It's actually so funny. He's like, all right, man, call it what you want. And he's like, thank you, man. I appreciate you. Shout outs to the big one. Oh, the reversal coming out.
Activation.
I'm loving this right now too. This
This
is where Daigo, yeah, he can't be throwing out any of the Sonic Booms now. He has to be big chilling.
Definitely gonna hurt. Yeah, that is definitely gonna hurt. Look at these pokes though. Crusher not committing to anything. Ridiculous. Blocks out the EX. Walked up in the right space to get the anti-air, and now it's a one-touch situation. Oh, he thought the wait and bait easy bait oven in Daigo. Eating them up for that decision. That is the classic. That is the Street Fighter, the Super Turbo. You whip a button. You so focused on the boom you thought. Stay sucker free. First one to Daigo.
That was actually pretty impressive. Again, Daigo, this is something he's been doing for decades now. When you get the punish on that, breaking out of the corner, it's gonna be so significant. The forward fierce landing as well, still fighting and bobbing his weaving out of the way, out of the corner. And it's so tough now. It's so tough for Crusher.
Yeah. But the jump back, Crusher leading, and Daigo leading, even though he is the one that's in with the corner, only with one bar to his name. With that push out with these normals and confidence. Booms, who needs those? I got the fist.
Anti-air's there. Yep, and I love this. The containment unit that is Crusher's Birdie. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The bullhorn. You can't let those Sonic Booms fly out for free. Back throw, you're actually going to be dead. And that's, yeah, that was a checkmate scenario as soon as Daigo got the back throw because of the fact that Crusher was in V-trigger state. That critical art was coming no matter what. So excellent poise from the side of Daigo, being able to fight out of the corner and find his openings in a very patient manner. Crusher looks, he was looking a little flustered. I'm not gonna lie. I was looking at the player cam more so than the matchup at hand. He got pretty excited when he got the bullhorn. He got his reaction up against the Sonic Boom, but as soon as he got back thrown, my man almost flew out of camera shot. He was like, "Damn, I can't believe I got thrown." It was actually kind of wild.
He's like, wait, what? Me getting thrown? Like, I'm supposed to have some of the best pressure in the business when it comes to keeping people in the corner. Because Birdie with those normals, you know, we already saw the jump back jab. We saw the heavy kicks in the lights and things like that to keep Daigo with the back against the wall. But that's the other thing about Guile is that beyond the booms, his normals are fantastic. You see him contesting, poking away. It's not about the hit front play. It's about just pressuring with this wall of normals that you think would come from Birdie, but are coming from Guile. And there is that practice from Daigo. Well, also timed, also well calculated, I should say, from Daigo to get that back throw and have just enough for that. Going to be a super situation either way to seal it. So he's going to figure out something different. I feel like for Crusher, it's even harder because it's like, all right, I can't even get through the booms consistently, and now I have to deal with these fantastic normals of this character that are keeping him out. It should be me that's keeping him out, but it's not happening like that. Not this season.
Yeah. It's so tough. Man, I mean, like, there was a lot that Crusher was going through for the first part of that match, or first part of that game. Like, he was just kind of like walking and blocking, trying to figure out when these booms are coming. He didn't even want to try to exercise that bullhead just yet. But we saw glimpses of that. We saw the potential of what could be in this matchup. We're just trying to see whether or not Crusher has the right reactions. There it is. That's exactly what I was looking for against Daigo.
All right, now the corner pressure has to be a lot more hot, steady, and ready to keep someone like Daigo. But look at him. We'll swing out these buttons with confidence and backing him with the booms, but Free Willy EX addition puts him in the corner for some damage. Surprise, but there we go. Daigo not backing down just yet. Not giving up too much space. I mean, he doesn't have much space to give up in general. Oh!
That was a little awkward coming in from the side of Crusher. Thinking he can get at least an extension off of that standing medium punch, just a little bit too far out. He's not going to worry about it too much. He's actually within kill range for a command grab. Yep, and it is indeed going to be the command grab. Nice and easy.
Now putting a new option on the board is Crusher. Seeing these command grabs come through. Also the EX Dolphin dive. Trying to get the jump in off the heavy kick. What a fantastic read. Eats the bubble yum for some fun. Goes with that V bar. More and more, but falls to EX. Daigo using the EX bar to get some distance with it. I like that option because, you know, you're getting some space as much as possible to get that knockdown and some Oki. But here we go back in the corner. Crusher walking him down. Walk block.
And this is something that Daigo is more than willing to sit on. Being at the deficit, being in the corner, this is going to be just fine. Overextension! Coming in from Crusher, thinking he might have had maybe a boom to work with or work against, but he just did it. And that just gives Daigo the biggest opening. He's throwing these booms confidently now. He does not care.
It doesn't matter. Even if you V reversal, I still think you're stuck in the eye of the storm. Daigo knew what to do. Crusher knew he was through, and it's just that confidence that Daigo has in this match, able to walk himself on the corner with these buttons. Even if he's lacking a second on health, even with the booms, might be able to get red. Just have these buttons that are either hiding the booms or just swinging out and Crusher and stop him before he can get his own off. Daigo's comfortable in this corner. Plus,
I will say this. There's a lot to be said in regards to what Crusher had been doing more so than Daigo. I feel like, because that was a very critical error from Crusher, and I love that. Yeah, the side switch coming back after the anti-air, so smart from Crusher. But a slight advantage doesn't mean anything to the legend. Daigo, yeah, taking it right back from underneath him. He's still hanging out in the corner, trying to find an escape option with that jump.
Up in that super situation, but the activation. Oh, the baby boomers on the deck. Parade of pain. B skill, flash kick into the super. You see Crusher reel back. Because that is almost that. That is that. That's a hefty bullet. That's a lot of damage.
This guy, Daigo is a beast. He is an absolute unit. This man did an entire combo to build himself into critical art so that he can get the W. And that combo is not the easiest, right? Or at least having to do that under pressure like that is not the easiest. This guy does it like it's his day job. Well, guess what? It is his day job. 2 games straight for my man Daigo Umehara. Crusher still not able to put himself on the board. This is looking pretty grim right now for Hiroshima Team Ikuza. They need any sort of W on the board. They need points on the board in general.
It's off to Crusher. Puts him with the anti-air back in the corner. Visha for the break. Blocks it out. And Crusher with the 3-piece and the dash-up throw. Locked in the corner. Once again, about to get that stun. So I'm not done. One more good hit should seal it. We've seen Daigo fight outside this corner. It's a tall ask, but he can definitely do it. He has V-trigger to guide himself out, and this is what it's about. The baby boomers back to mid-screen. The push. Off that low. V-skill flash. No flash kick. Go for that reset. Crusher not biting. Go for the V-reversal for some distance, too. He knows it's almost over.
Not like this, though. Don't let Daigo come back from this. This is going to be the biggest morale killer if you let him have this. And you can see Daigo reluctant to throw some of these booms. We did see a big one. Yeah, and I love that. Crusher getting his counter poke game on against Daigo, knowing full well he's like, you know, he's not allowed to press these sonic booms, and even if he does, I still have these light normals to stop it preemptively. What are you gonna do about this? So I do like that, pushing the agenda. Crusher still has another round to work with. He has to get this W. That is an excellent start. Anti-air, and I love that.
Chase down.
Crusher. Yes, sir.
Ain't gonna leave without paying some damage. The pokes back, and you see Crusher with the wall of buttons, the confidence, right back with the character thought. He saw boom, no go. EX get the knockdown, goes for the back throw. The trade still. This is good for Daigo. He walks Crusher to the corner. Crush, back fist, check my wrist. Activation, I might get that stun.
He's gonna get the reset.
Oh, the reset!
The stun is there. Yeah. That was actually super tricky coming in from Daigo, especially off that knee bazooka reset. You don't even know what side he's gonna land on.
Daigo got mixed like that? Brazy right now, because Daigo is on set point. Crusher looking a little bit lost, falls to the X fireball. Attack immediately. Daigo trying to set up that strike throw. If he gets in with the upside down kick, be real dangerous.
Looking at, again, match point for the week. Daigo trying to close it out for his team. Already finds himself at the corner, but he still has that life lead against Crusher. There hasn't been a lot in the counter poke department from Crusher because Daigo hasn't thrown out a lot of normals that whiff, right?
That's true. No forward fierce, no back fist, none of that. Just jabs, mediums, and things like that. Crusher poking away, but not a lot of damage in play. Oh, V shifts away. He was in damn near distance either way.
Is he ready?
And now he just knew.
Oh,
it's the Batman. Daigo's the Dark Knight himself.
One more sequence is going to be enough for Daigo. Now he's just weaving in and out of the ranges that Crusher's uncomfortable at. Look at that, just poking away with crouching jabs every so often. And look, he's trying to catch a counter poke. Yo, Daigo is intentionally going within the ranges to check Crusher's timing. Oh boy. Yeah, he's chilling.
B reversal. Wait till EX. Yeah.
4 seconds. He's chilling.
Another one. Is that enough to get it done? It's not. Oh, wait. Crusher survives. At the last hit, Vicious, at the very last hit, he got it. That very last hit, had it been even a millisecond slower. And you see Crusher popping off. The idea was there from Daigo. But that EX headbutt, that last hit, that last animation to do it. Ooh, lucky boy. But well played, though,
very
from Crusher.
Glad. I'm very glad that he utilized EX and had enough meter to do so towards the very end, because that would have been so scary. That would have been so scary. Like if he didn't have that much damage on the table. That is a clip and a half, ladies and gentlemen. Crusher finding his way back with at least a game on under his belt.
Right that wave, right that momentum. But unfortunately, that's a whiff and a hit right there from Daigo to answer back. Not the biggest punish, but still, make sure nothing flies. He's fine to the corner. The skill, locking down, but too far out for that crouching medium punch. See a punish though from Daigo.
Yeah. Ooh. And the same old song and dance when it comes to Daigo, right? Trying to control the neutral. Be a bother with some of these normals, standing medium kick being one of them. Now throwing out some of these booms. Crusher still having a hard time getting past. At least, okay, does get one of them. No, oh my God.
Another. And you knew it was coming. The activation from the sweep off the feet. He's got the bar at the bottom. But a double flash kick to get the job done. If you would have just waited, you would have got the punch, you would have got that round. But now that was Daigo's.
Yo, Senkola, did you see Crusher take off his headset? My man took off his headset so quickly. He took off his headset so quickly after that match ended, or after that round ended. Oh no. Command grab? No.
Oh, he said enough is enough. Oh, would have worked though. In the corner.
Oh.
EX, block, punish, back fist. They get a crush, so no follow-up, but this is so good. Daigo's poking back. But Crusher is unleashed.
EX flash kick again. Yo, Daigo, he's letting all of them fly. He let 2 fly in round 1. Oh no. Crusher just caught the tail end of those active frames on the back fist. I think a back throw. No, he's gonna be just fine actually. He can't take a hit now. Crusher is on his last leg.
Can Crusher finally confirm? Throw some more games. Daigo's threatening with that EX bar at the bottom. Oh, look, confirm. No, not for the super. Didn't blow up that bar. But he knows that he just needs that one hit to do a V reversal immediately.
Is that going to be enough? It's not! The chip
enough.
isn't there! And
No.
He takes the punish! Crusher trying to take the chip W against Daigo. He was 1 pixel away. The cry of desperation for another game is shut and silenced by Daigo Umehara's guile. Man, that even Yamato had to reel back in his seat. He's like, damn, that was rough. Even I feel like that's the kind of stress that'll put Hamiko back on sick leave, to be honest with you.
He's like, let me get a few more PTO. Like, I need to take a break.
Yeah.
Because the way that was played, the way things were played out, oh my God. I know Crusher's feeling. We saw him take off the headset, that emotion. But man, it's funny because that miscalculation on Daigo's side had happened previously. And then on the other side of Crusher, just wasn't able to calculate that last hit to do it. Just one hit would have been in to get that just minute punish to stay in the game. Not even punish the super to chip to stay in the game. But it's going to be Daigo's win. Daigo's W again. Nagoya Oja Body Star taking it over Hiroshima Itsuka. They are leaving with no points.
Yeah, that's hard. That's a hard thing to digest, man. With 0 points going into it, right? Looking at the leaderboard, Team Ikuza stays in 8th place with 55 points. But for the others, right? Nagoya Oja Body Star, Mildom, this is significant. This actually puts them above Shinobiism Gaming with an earshot again against Good 8 Squad at 180 points. This is actually kind of crazy. It's actually getting pretty dang close. We do have the winning team interview. Man, this is getting very close, man. This run is going to be very, very close. These top 4 teams are looking unpredictable, at least for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. But if I see Good 8 Squad fall a little bit short next week, that is going to be a problem and a half, man. Let me tell you. But other than that, as we get our winners interview going on, obviously Daigo's going up first. Yo, St. Cola, 40-0 against Hiroshima Team Ikuza. Was that something like, in regards to like any of your predictions going into the matchups, is that something you think was gonna come to fruition? Like honestly, between these two teams?
I don't think 40-0 was what I was going to call it. I kind of called that, in my mind at least, Oja Body Star being so strong and the matchup list being what it is with the characters and sometimes the players too as well, being so strong that it was going to be hard for Itsuka to take it back. But the order of their players and their characters may have led to their demise in some of these areas. I feel like Inaba is kind of like that where you would put him to fight Fudo's Poison or Daigo's Guile, right? Because these matchups would have been a little bit better off, and maybe in the anchor position where Inaba should have been at. I mean, he's been doing well with these anchor positions. But as it stands, you know, they're able to pull away the victory. Oja Body Star is able to pull away the victory. And Daigo says, with Fudo, very strong player, just a while he decided on his playstyle, and it may have just happened the last minute. We talked about how he has, you know, when we look at the template of Guile, it's Koguchi and Kaba, I feel like, that are the best. But it looks like Daigo's coming to his own. He's a slow learner. He said he's a slow learner, but he's at that point where he's like, I found my style with Guile, and it's starting to work out. I found my blueprint with this character. It's starting to work to full effect to showcase how he should play Guile. And Akira is super happy. His teammates have given him advice. He thinks he was lucky, and the team worked on his win. Vicious, I don't think it was luck that won them that day. I think he definitely was doing the right things with the V-shift.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of comfort to be talked about with that match, right? He also expressed that he played off against Inaba the last time he was over at Hiroshima. So there's a lot of that comfort factor that kind of showed off in that matchup in particular. I don't think, I agree with you. I don't think it was luck at all. Him utilizing the V-shift in the areas that he wanted to, perfect. Absolutely perfect. I wish I could have seen that also from the side of Inaba. But as it stands right now, again, Akira taking it very convincingly. I think the most convincing out of the entire group from Nagoya Oja Body Star, right? Akira actually took it down 2-0, got that confidence booster to go into the next match. Fudo as well. What's funny is we actually talked about this a little bit earlier. Storm Kubo going up against Fudo wasn't like a decision that was like not too bad either. I think the Alex matchup was starting to get to Fudo a little bit. As we saw, Storm Kubo had gone to match point 2 times over, but seeing Inaba face off against Fudo would have been pretty interesting as well. But as we got that interview wrapped up. Fudo, the opponent's tactics were perfect. Glad I had practiced well. So that's a big statement to say as Fudo, right? I think, you know, saying that, you know, what they had in mind in anticipation for what came out from the opposition, they had planned for it either way, but also recognizing that Storm Kubo coming in with Alex was a pretty good ordeal. Akira, very short and simple, glad we won. 40 points is big, hoping to win our next game too as we get into the stats. Anti-air department pretty much on point from the side of Crusher too.
Yeah, really good stuff from Crusher. In fact, like he had that cross-up anti-air with the Crash Fierce, which I think was really cool. The bust out, so you see one of those bust outs from Daigo with, and then he went for another one. If Crusher had just waited just a little bit longer, just a little bit more, maybe seen something different. But those are like the minute changes that you need to do in these matchups. And you know, things did get close. I feel like the blowout really happened with the Akira match versus Inaba. However, these matches were pretty close despite the score being what it is. So it's not like Hiroshima Team Itsuka is losing in a massive deficit every single time they come up to play. It's just small things that they have to correct. Small things, minute things. And this is their opponents having new playstyles, having things that where they excel, they're getting better. They're more prepared too, as well as you see Fudo acclimating and getting a little bit better in these scramble situations. We saw Daigo getting better. We're going to see these matches in a second here for the review as we see the start off. Inaba versus Akira. This was a good matchup of showcasing why V-Shift and V-Break are so important in these matchups, especially against a character like Dictator who swings up these big buttons that you can whip punch with down, medium kick, and things like that. You see that V-Shift in the break against the blast, and you build all that gray life to make the next hit hurt even harder. And again, reading the decisions, I think some of that's because they play each other a lot. We already talked about how Inaba and Akira play each other, and again, Akira saying, yo, I hope he lets me win today. You definitely saw Akira just outplaying Inaba quite a bit. I think Inaba was sweating right there. You check his pits, they're definitely sweating. He was playing at his hardest, but Inaba was able to take out that victory in the corner. Look at that confidence. My God. Not break it down. I'm not going
to be the guy to give him that examination on whether or not he was perspiring, but I will tell you what, it was definitely a little sweaty between Storm Kubo and Fudo. That was actually such a wild exchange, by the way. That Viaversal still checking poison after that. That was actually pretty wild. But as it stands right now, I think it would have been quite a tragedy to see Fudo get counterpicked again with with a character that he doesn't really get to play off against, right? Alex could have sealed it. I think there's just a lot to be said with Storm Kubo and his closing out ability. He was at match point literally 2 times over, but there's something even more that Fudo has to close out some of these matches and still keep the strategy alive of playing pretty much close to his chest mid-range or even trying to weave out of certain situations. Whereas you have quite the opposite with Daigo. He played to his strengths in the corner majority of the match, and that was quite impressive, right? Just look at the replay itself, right? Tell me he hasn't spent majority of his time in the right corner.
I mean, look at that. He's sitting there in the East Coast the entire time. He's able to stay fine and put Crusher in these checkmate situations. His typical play where he saves up that bar for these supers to seal it for chip either way, or for just on hit to seal it, whatever. And the activations too were on point as well. Baiting out Crusher's reactions. Even though he got smooth through a few booms, it wasn't enough to deter him from the booms overall. And just being so confident in his normals, that aggressive play, being able to be confident in these buttons, being confident, even though they were whip punish you see every so often, leaving less of these whip punishable normals on the deck, and then letting the back fist with the crush hit every so often, like sprinkle that in every so often. And this sick reset. Who said Gao don't got no mix? And that last hit, Daigo just so dominant in this match, but Crusher just a few hits away in some of these sequences. You saw the EX headbutt come through. That was well calculated by him to get that win, as you pointed out. If he would have used the normal one, it wouldn't have got done. But in the same sequence, probably going to show the fact that he wasn't able to get that chip sequence. And right here, just if he would have just blocked it out, he would have had that round. He would have had it. And here we go.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to get that chip. He's looking for it. Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah, that's all it came down to, really. I think had he gotten that, I think if Crusher had taken that game, I think it would have spelled out a whole different story for Crusher, because that game was pivotal, man. We're starting to see him kind of like get his wind beneath him, but it just wasn't enough. He was just off by a literal pixel off. That's so heartbreaking, man. But that's what it is, man. That's how it goes sometimes. Hiroshima Team Ikusa falling short 0-40 against Nagoya Oja Body Star Mildom. As you can see, the away team yet again comes out the victor, and a 40 ball coming in from at least one of the matches. But I don't know, as of week number 6, I think 3 out of the 4 matches we've seen thus far from day 1 and 2, 3 of them ended up in a big victory for the away side. 2 of them actually showed off the sudden death battle, and 2 others have shown a big blowout, 40-0. As it stands right now, Good 8 Squad in the lead. Nagoya Oja Body Star at 180. Shinobiism Gaming at 160. Gyogun at 125. Saishun Console Kumamoto at 110. Camouflage Detonation at 90. V6 Plus FFV Gaming at 90. And Hiroshima Team Ixa at 55.
FAV Gaming in the bottom. Those were the winners of the last season, but now something's different with it. The change up, the switch up with these players, the new meta, the teams, even the winning team of last season is not the top spot. Good 8 is, but they're not that far off from the other players, the other teams in terms of the standings and the points you see right here, as well as they are at the top spot right now, but they could drop at any point. It's so hard to call who's going to take it here at SFL Japan. There's so many strong players and competitors, and even these 40 balls, I'm not able to predict them at all, or who is going to come through in some of these matchups at all, just in general, Vicious.
Yeah, we can see how it plays out, right? We still have plenty more matches to go. This is going to be week number 7. This is the final week before we start to see those runbacks. It's going to be Nagoya Oja Body Star Mildom going up against Team Gyogun. Then, of course, Camouflage Detonation following up after Shinobiism Gaming. Again, they are pretty much hot on their tail. This is going to be the match to behold. This is next week's schedule. You guys make sure, mark your calendars. That's going to be coming up this week, technically week 7. You know, it's going to be happening on Friday, Japan time. It's going to be very early for those in the States. But this is what you can expect for the rest of the schedule. It's going to be same old song and dance, right, Senkola?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So make sure that y'all tune into all the applicable channels to watch the official restream out here on the Capcom channel, Capcom Fighters channel, on Twitch, on YouTube. Keep it locked and loaded. Don't go anywhere but here. You want the official English restream. But until then, till next time, we'll see you on the streets. Peace.
Take it easy.
解説ははめこさん、実況は私、大和周平でお送りいたしました。それでは第7節でお会いいたしましょう。それではさよなら。
さよなら。